Dire team pick.
Bang.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Monkey King.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
The sack.
Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Slada.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Choose your hero. Ten seconds remaining. Prepare for battle!
Hello. Hello there. My name is Sun. Wow, that crowd really loves us. They're definitely real. Sunsfan here with Cinderin, main event. Cinderman, stop smiling. It's nothing to be happy about. This is IG versus Team Spirit. We have cast a ton of IG in the group stage. They were completely dominant. And we've cast a ton of Spirit throughout the entire year. And they have kind of had this, I mean, they had this underdog mentality the entire year, and they've just gotten better and better with each event.
Yeah, I think in many ways it's fair to say for all the teams at this event, that might be the team that's undergone the biggest growth from start to finish of the season. It's been really incredible to watch them. And a lot of the times when these young teams come into TI, it can be very daunting. It can be scary, you know. The stakes are extremely high, but Spirit even started out with a bad beginning to the group stage, and they've just rallied behind, I'm not sure who they rallied behind, but whatever they did, it worked. Managing to get to the upper bracket was something I think a lot of people were not even expecting this team to be capable of, and they did it in one of the hardest ways by starting out with 2 losses. So it's been very, very impressive to watch. I think they have a lot of their, you know, trademark heroes in this game. Love playing aggressive style, having a lot of stuns in team fight. It's very classic for the Eastern European region to draft like this, and Team Spirit, I think compared to other teams in that region, are just more stable. They make less mistakes, they make more smart and big plays around the map, and largely a player I look to on this team is going to be Toronto Tokyo, and this game he's playing Invoker, so could definitely make it happen.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few beastly games from him in particular, so you heard what the draft panel had to say about the lineups. What are your thoughts going into this game number 1?
I think they pretty much hit the nail on the head. IG's early Tricorp presence, if you want to call it that, with Slardar, Monkey King, Leshrac can be really powerful. These heroes work relatively well against BKB, at least 2 of them. Slardar, Monkey King can do a lot, and that is an item you would see a lot picked up against Lion and Leshrac, so you've kind of covered your bases that you don't get like completely shut out by one item. As far as Spirit's lineup goes, a little bit slower to build up. Invoker might need some time. He's obviously more than likely going to be played Quas Wex here. He already has Wex skilled, but Quas Wex Invoker kind of I'm not sure how to explain this, but if you think about his power curve, it's like really strong at level, let's say 7 to 12, then he falls off a little bit, and then he can come back later if he starts getting XR points and starts getting some bigger items, but very, very late, both Morphling and Invoker with Elder Titan Natural Order should be able to pull this off.
Yeah, your prediction is looking very, very true with Elder Titan being so hotly contested, yet not banned as often as you would think, considering his ridiculous win rate of, I think they were saying 65% so far in this tournament.
61.5, yep, you're right.
Close enough. We round down
not
in
a bad
America.
guess, actually.
NA,
you weren't listening earlier, as usual, so that was...
That's your style, please now, Cinder. This is the TI main stage. You got to take it very seriously, okay? So top lane we have Fly and Kaka going to be dual laning. So it's going to be the position 1 Monkey King Cinder, which, you know, obviously we talked about how flexible this hero is. But having said that, it's been mostly position 4 in the group stage. So your thoughts going into this game with position 1 this time around?
I think the lane match up here is pretty good. The one thing I'm a bit concerned for sometimes with carry Monkey King is that some lane matchups are just rough. Like you have a hero that's 100% based around getting multiple attacks in on the same target to really shine in lane. That's why some matchups that have attack speed slowing abilities like Jakiro or Venomancer with all the move speed slows, or these kind of heroes can make Monkey King's life absolutely miserable in lane. This one, however, Mars is not the biggest problem for him, nor is ET. So I do think from a laning perspective, Fly should be coming up to a good start here.
And mid lane, you already kind of mentioned Toronto Tokyo playing the Invoker versus Emo's Leshrac. Thoughts on the matchup from a hero-to-hero perspective?
I think it's pretty even. Invoker will usually try to win lanes against other int heroes by burning their mana with Tornado EP. But Leshrac should still be somewhat able to last it even if he's low on the mana. Quaswex Invoker's base damage isn't the greatest. And of course, I would say the whole dynamic around Quaswex mid-Invoker has changed with the addition of Water Runes. I just think it's easier to get that little bit of mana back that you would usually lose in the past, and then if you didn't find a Power Rune, you would be very stifled in lane. But nowadays, most heroes against Quaswex Invoker will find decent farm here, and this is no exception. Emo currently top net worth. He's 15-5 against Toronto Tokyo's.
Gonna see a spear top. Mr. Cinderman. Flyfly's gonna try to turn around to collapse, but it looks like everybody's gonna part ways right now. I'm sure a salve is coming for Flyfly. There we go. As a balanced strike still ready to go overall. But yeah, you're right. Emo 15-5, 13-3 for Toronto Tokyo. So actually relatively even considering it's the Quaswex, which kind of surprising actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the heroes damage,
well, he's about to get a whole wave here, so maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not that close.
Emo is getting slightly more. I would say this is one of the better matchups for Invoker in lane, just because what you don't want to face is these heroes that either dominate you by playing aggressively or have way better last hit damage than you. Both of these heroes don't have the best base damages, but Invoker is actually slightly ahead of Leshrac in the beginning, so should be able to find a decent amount here. And Leshrac usually just responds by, you know, spell of farming, Lightning Storm, very good against these ranged heroes to secure range creeps and start building up toward that early bottle that Emo has already got. Bottle Magic Wand, rocking that in the mid lane. And bottom lane, I think this largely, for me, is actually the most interesting lane to watch in this game, just because Morphling is a very snowbally hero by nature in lane. If you get crushed in the early few levels, you can be slowed down a lot. But at the same time, against a lot of melee heroes, Morphling does very well, starts getting up those key levels and can just start trading with that early Morbid Mask that we see here from Yotaro, playing against Io and Slardar. So overall pretty even, but there's relatively high kill potential down here for IG onto the Bane, playing against heroes with high move speed, which you definitely get out of Sprint plus Tether. You can't really necessarily reset and get away even with a Nightmare cast.
Yeah, we have yet to get a first blood, which actually for this meta, very uncommon. Typically you'll see something even during the bounty rune stage, the 0 minute mark, but both teams playing a little passive here. As I say that, Yotaro going to get bashed by JT, but looks like he's going to be perfectly fine with, like you said, that Morbid Mask. Probably not a better hero to get it. Probably the only hero to get this early on is actually First Blood. Kaka is going to be taking out Mira in that top lane. So First Blood goes the way of IG.
This is such a great hero for Monkey King to lane with both Earth Spike and Hex leveled here for Kaka with 2-1-0 build. There's so much time for JT, or sorry, for Flyfly to get in those Jingu mastery attacks and then finish off the kill. So, yeah, nice for IG to find the first blood there. I want to say this bottom lane, the Io Starter, I think this is a lane that has had its ups and downs. There was a phase for, I want to say, 2 or 3 weeks in Europe especially, where this lane was played all the time. Definitely Insania on the draft panel, no stranger to this lane, as I believe it was Taiga and Boxy that were playing this quite a bit together as well for Team Liquid. Just They just come to mind just because that's the type of lane that that team like to play. It's very synergistic. There's a lot of like tandem plays you make. The heroes just complement each other very well. IO gives attack speed to Slardar, so you get the attacks in for Bash of the Deep. We might see Miposhka actually in trouble here. Yeah, probably gonna wake him up here. Is all right. He's not gonna pursue that.
Looks like he's perfectly fine as expected. Synderen, very good.
Caught up.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, we don't see a lot of Bane these days. But actually, what is the reason for Bane this game in particular?
So what was the draft order? So they picked Bane third, and the heroes that they saw were Io and Lion, I think. Probably just protection. You know, it's a decent hero against a lot of the Io tether combinations. All right, we're just going to reset out here. Mira needs to be a little bit careful here, perhaps. There's the Hex mana coming in, and he is toast.
Indeed. Pulse Nova is there for Emo, and that's second kill of the game now for IG.
Yeah. But yeah, to finish off on the Bane thing, Team Spirit's like team ideology or the way they play, Miposhka playing this hero is a very good way of ensuring Yatoro a good start in lane. So I think it's mainly for protection, and the feed script against a lot of Bane's or Io's targets, tether targets can be nice.
See JT and Ollie beating the absolute crap down here against Yatoro and Miposhka. Yatoro, of course, extremely tanky. Miposhka has the Nightmare available, and as you can see, they're just going to trade sleeps here. But still, damage is done. Yatoro has to back off now and try to regain some HP.
They do have a salve. He's going to be healed up to full here, but
has his Falcon Blade now as well.
Small camp is going to spawn here. Yeah, Morphling, one of the better heroes against this lane, because if IO Slardar don't kill you off fully here, you can just regen up easily. But now Kaka will make his way over as well. They're really looking to shut down Yatoro. Has found some pretty good starting farm though.
Fly able to jump his way out of the Tornado's path, but yeah, still no kills for Team Spirit as of yet. But they're gonna group up here a little bit towards the top lane, have the siege creep available for pushing potential. We'll see if IG tries to mitigate this in any way. Fly, all he can do is watch from above for now.
Yeah, Collapse is only level 5, so there's no Arena of Blood here for this potential team fight that could break out here, but it looks like it's just going to be a tower trade. IG rotating down, Emo to bottom, and obviously Leshrac with the classic 2-2-2-1 build, which we see almost every game currently, is going to be maxing out Edict most likely after this, but still makes very quick work of this tower when Edict comes up the second time, as Glyph was used on the first one. And maybe Spirit won't actually get this tower. They still have the siege creep alive. They'll get it in time.
Yeah, that thing has been alive for eons at this point. Fly. Oh, he's going to get speared in. Not sure they're going to get the vision here. EMP's there with the cold snap to follow. Fly gets off the boundless strike. Collapse just trying to follow behind him. The Tornado's going to be there, and he actually just locks him in completely. Nicely done from Team Spirit. The spear actually finishes him off there, but will be a 1-for-1 in terms of the towers, but obviously position 1 death, pretty big deal for IG.
Bottom tower.
It's going to be returning to base here. Collapse ran completely out of resources. It's going to be heading out. Yatoro is now just going to be sitting close to this tier 2 tower bot and farming. You would imagine that IG could be looking to make a potential smoke move down there with Lion plus Lesh. Have plenty of magic damage burst against Yatoro if he's playing on that low strength, which is very common for Morphlings for the farming speed. And you see they snuck down a ward here earlier that just barely doesn't see Yatoro, but if he's trying to go right and look at that camp that JT just farmed, that could open up a move for them to cross down there. For now, Kaka will just be taking his level 6 in mid. Get Finger of Death, awesome ability against Morph. Once again, likes playing on low health, so you can find the kills very, very quickly.
Yep, if he can be sneaky enough. His Emo and Ollie already got done taking out a couple stacks of creeps in their triangle. Fly continuing to...
mid lane.
All right, we got the Hex to start things out. Or the Spike to follow. Emo with the Splitter. This should be a kill. There's TP supports coming though. Finger of Death, like you said, just takes him out in turn. But Yatoro has made his rotation. This would be a really big kill, but that's the pig pull. Emo turns into a pig and lives. That is a very small percentage play center, as we have discussed many a time, but it worked.
It's a good point. Around. The pig pull made no difference there. So happy you pointed that out.
Really glad to be here with you.
You have like a quota you need to meet every game. When there's a pick pull, you have to say, I don't know if you have some sort of a contractual obligation.
With who?
I don't know, some sort of company that makes bacon.
Well, I do like bacon. The EMP cold snap. Kaka dead on his own cliff here. 3-2 advantage now for Team IG. And Emo looking at terms of, in terms of the net worth here, top of the charts. And his counterpart in Toronto, Tokyo, about 600 off, which if you were to ask me at the beginning of the game, I would say that's probably normal for the Kwaswex versus Lesh anyway.
Yeah. Lesh just farms faster in the jungle, right? Like, even if you equalize in lane, Leshrac can always go to the jungle and farm with Pulse Nova, and he's playing with IO, which just makes things a lot better. You get that extra mana regen, you get the extra move speed to go from camp to camp. Now they're even going to bottle refill, Kaka TPing in for that. They're trying to make sure that Emo stays happy in this game. Has a tendency to pop off when he's given a good game like this.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Very uncharacteristic for his name, but...
I mean, we've seen him pop off, but we've also seen him get a little too overconfident at times as well, so... But overall, compared to other mids, he's definitely one of the best in the world right now. As there's a Diabolic Edict,
A little bit.
Actually surprising to see that very little damage has been done to this tier 1 mid as a Lesh from Emo, but of course he's spending a lot of time in the jungle right now just getting that farm.
Yeah, and Team Spirit, they know how important this mid tower is, so they're going to be parking someone here. Elder Titan, one of the best heroes at doing this, actually. Just sitting in a lane, protecting the tower. You have so much range with Astral Spirit, and you just get the stomp off, and you stay very far back for safety. IG can't really catch this ET if he stands in a good position, unless they wrap around with some sort of smoke gank and use Monkey King from the trees or something like that. But Fly uninterested. He's sitting top right now, farming up his Echo Saber. An item that's become very, very popular on many melee carries lately, but Monkey King has always been one of the staples. When this item wasn't even very good, Monkey would buy it.
He's not a hipster. He started the trend, if anything, right?
Yeah.
Monkey King has got it all under control.
And it just makes so much sense, right? It's a hero that is all about those right clicks for getting up the Jingu stacks and getting the powerful boundless strike in. And Echo Saber, one of the fastest ways of getting 4 attacks you could possibly get. Later on, they're also going to be tethering him for Overcharge. So 3 good friends for IO this game. I love to see that in IO drafts. I think it's very cool when IO doesn't just have one partner like Tiny, but where there's other heroes you can tether to, because it opens up different plays on the map that you can make with different players, while others might have other objectives in the game, whether it's pushing a tower or farming jungle. And if your primary target dies, you're not like lost in the fight. Like, let's say you're tethered to Monkey and Monkey dies, suddenly you can tether the Lesh, and that's also amazing, or the Slardar.
Oh, we're going to see a smoke here from Team Spirit. So Spirit Vessel, I believe, is complete on Toronto Tokyo, which is obviously really good against IO. Collapse not quite done with his Blink Dagger. We'll get to that in just a moment. As Kaka might be the one to tank the gank here, and something tells me he's not getting out of this one, Cinderin.
Almost.
And the crowd goes wild. But Collapse, like I talked about, I want to say that this guy, during the, I believe it was the Animator, I would consider him the MVP of Team Spirit. He was, especially on Mars, an absolute god. Now, Mars as a hero has kind of dropped off a bit in terms of the pick rate. But we're going to see him get the Blink Dagger as it's being delivered now, so expect some plays to come.
Yeah, I think just anecdotally, without knowing the exact stats for the tournament, for me it feels like the primary teams that have been playing Mars have been Team Spirit and Vici Gaming. And a little bit of IG as well, I do believe, on JT. So it's primarily been the Chinese teams as well as the Radiant team in this game. Makes a lot of sense that the hero was rated relatively highly in the draft for that reason, because it is a contested hero for the other team as well. IG looking to try to get the first tier 2 tower of the game while Spirit are mid. Was that a cancel TP? I think it was. Oh, Mira.
Wukong's command, and that is going to be an easy kill onto Mira in the bot lane as the tier 1 falls mid. Stuck inside his Wukong's command for now, Toronto Tokyo. Gonna get gone on to start with from JT, but gets slept initially. There's the Collapse. Ult comes in with 3 inside. Yataro and company trying to clean up. Ollie's gonna be the first to fall here, along with Emo. JT showing off that Blink Dagger, so he will be safe, but 2 big kills for Spirit.
He got slowed by
He's not safe, Cinderin. Why did you say that,
Stop
JT?
lying to the audience.
He's fine, I said it.
Oh, more flag.
Wait. Adaptive strike.
For 100 damage.
I told you, Cinder. Why do you question me?
Oh, you're so good at this game. You knew.
Oh, man. So good. And the crowd continues to go wild. So shout out to everybody that is cheering in game. We're still waiting on Twitch to approve the extension update that allows Twitch viewers to cheer on stream. You know, maybe if somebody's watching from Twitch, you could approve that at some point. It's not like this is the biggest event of all time or anything. So Emo and Ollie in the triangle. See if they're going to try for a smoke here, but Emo's death quite costly because he was top net worth, but now you can see that is not the case anymore.
Yeah, looking great for Yatoro now, finishing off the Asha, of course, building now into E-Blade. They have an enormous amount of magic damage between their heroes. Natural Order. Man, Tsunami really screwed me over earlier when he said Astral Order. He actually got to me.
Exception, yeah.
So Natural Order, you've got the E-Blade together with Invoker's spells. Oh, JT will run away.
That's a lot of mana drain from that EMP. As Kaka and company are here. Finger of Death. Oh, the nightmare save! Miro will still die, so not as exciting as it may sound, but 2 dead.
But it
for
looked
Team
cool.
Spirit. It did look cool.
And
That's a
that is
highlight.
more important than winning.
If you have a highlight of that, don't show the end portion, and it looks really epic.
Just cut it off immediately. Wow.
Absolutely. And look at this.
Well, he didn't get the
Emo
finger stack. It could make a difference.
stealing a bunch of creeps in the triangle center. This is a huge deal. All right, maybe not that big. It's still a double stack of Ancients available. Yataro, oh, Wukong's command, fly, spots him out with JT coming in as well. And there's a relocate. Huge kill onto Yataro, who was and still is for now the top net worth in the game.
Yeah, ahead by a whopping 13 gold over Leshrac. We'll see if Emo can find literally any creep except a garbage kobold.
How dare you? I love the kobold. Best model of any neutral in the game. Look at him.
No, the best model of any neutral in the game is the Black Dragon Goofy.
I mean, it depends on your perspective.
There's no Black
Depends on
Dragons
what you're
available
looking
right now, so we can't show that. But
too
I'm
bad.
sure they'll spawn later.
So in terms of pace, obviously, I mean, if you just look at the net worth right now, 2K lead for IG. I mean, coming into this game, a lot of people are expecting IG to take this series. Team Spirit still it feels like they're always the underdog, and even after like great performances where they upset, they're still continuing to be the underdog for whatever reason. But I'm assuming you're thinking IG will take this series in the end.
Yeah, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a lot of people that have Team Spirit favored. Oh, Kaka. Kaka's dead.
Makoshka is in the vicinity.
Yes.
Echo Stomp is there. Spear into the trees, and down he goes.
Pretty big rotation from Spirit to find a lonesome position 4 there in the bottom lane. Effectively just the rest of the map being farmed up very nicely here by IG. All of their cores active around both the top bottom jungle of their own side, as well as Leshrac pushing out that mid lane. So this could open up for a potential move for IG. You see them drawing an arrow into the enemy triangle, so it looks like that's the next plan from Kaka here. He wants to maybe smoke. Of course, has the one key item that Lion wants in every game with that Blink Dagger, so can very easily initiate for the team as long as they have vision.
Yeah, BKB just picked up by Fly.
I think they saw him here. They see him.
Yeah,
he has the ward though on the high ground.
Links to safety. Looks like he's fine.
Yep. Gets
so
out
BKB
nicely.
on Fly as he actually has the Oblivion staff, so actually hasn't finished anything with that yet. Changed his mind considering how the game is going at the moment.
No, he disassembled it to make BKB something.
That's right. That's exactly what happened.
That is what happens when you look away for a moment.
That's right.
The game gets patched 7 times, and you can do that.
Yeah, very, very true. Another important item, Cinderin, Toronto, Tokyo picks up the Midas, which this is pretty much the standard build from Invokers these days, as Roche is going to be attempted.
Yeah, I like this.
Absolutely. This is against a Slardar lineup, so if you can take it away from them, then all the power to you.
Double damage morph with Alacrity. What's not to love?
Well, they're going to get the first Roche of the game, the first Roche of TI-10 main stage, in fact.
Yep.
As bottom lane, IG doing considerable amount of damage to this tier 2, and I would like to think that Spirit just lets this go.
IG take the first tier 2 tower of this TI-10 main event.
Are we just going to say that for everything?
IG are taking the first outpost of this TI-10 main event.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower is not what it used to be. That
I
is
thought you were going to keep
certain.
going. Sorry. I just...
Why would it? They
let
didn't
it
take
open up.
anything else.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yataro damaging the top tier 2 for the first time in this TI main event.
Much like cordwood before Axe's axe.
Let's see if they actually give this one up. IG doesn't look like they're looking to come here. They do pop the fort, though. And Spirit continuing to stay in the area. You can see most of IG in the bottom jungle right now, as the game is extremely even. Yep. Obviously, Aegis in tow for Yataro here. Can't go through that backdoor protection.
Well, starting to push out this top wave, and looks like IG are not interested in defending, which means in all likelihood Team Spirit will take the second tier 2 tower of the TI-10 main event. And it will be going to Yatoro or the creep wave. It is Yatoro.
You could have said the first one for the Radiant.
That's actually true.
Oh, JT, yep, jumping collapse for now. Collapse.
No BKB yet.
Going to get stunned. Ollie's trying to heal him to a high degree, but there's the Mars Arena blocking him up completely. He's just going to die within his own arena. So 1 for 1 for Kaka. And we'll see if Spirit want to continue to fight here despite not having that big crush by JT onto 2. But there's the E-Blade being shown from Itaro. Flyfly jumping on top of Toronto Tokyo, but there, Itaro doing some nice damage to Flyfly. He pops his BKB. It looks like Toronto Tokyo is donezo. Flyfly in the meantime looking to re-pursue here. Looks like the Elder Titan is next on the list. So a 3-for-1 after a really good initiation from JT. E-Blade still not enough to get a kill here for Yataro. Definitely has to be careful, but...
You see the awesome synergy there between Slaughter and Monkey King. This is a nasty late game composition as well. We're not truly in the late game just yet. I would rather call this the later portion of the mid game, but already you get Corrosive Haze on the target. Monkey King pops BKB, has the Echo Saber ready, and very quickly gets the hits in, and then that Boundless Strike, it really hurts. We're going to see it in a moment here in this replay. I think it's about 20 seconds after this. So looking to be a decent opener for Spirit. They get the grip off. Obviously gets cancelled here by Fly. And while Kaka does die, it still means big cooldowns have been expended by the Radiant here. No Earth Splitter, no grip, and that gives JT the confidence to go in. And pay attention to Toronto Toki here. So nice back off there from JT, and then they jump in the Monkey King. Nice attempt from Yatoro turning into Monkey for the stun, but watch this Boundless. So insanely much damage. Basically killed off Invoker from 2/3 in 1 second. And they're going to need to find solutions for that. So Toronto Tokyo is buying a BKB. You could imagine potentially a Lotus Orb would be somewhere in the future for the Radiant. But all of them just getting BKBs really, except Morph getting the Manta style. So yeah. Mars also queuing up BKB. Potentially could have been a Halberd game, but they value that magic immunity very, very high against especially Lion and Leshrac.
Oh, DD Rune, not going to be denied. Emo picks it up, pops that BKB. Toronto Tokyo might be the sacrifice for Team Spirit. He's just going to get taken down thanks to that Pulse Nova. Finger of Death used now, collapse. He's going to take the brunt of the damage. That's going to be 2 first kills for IG. Make it 3 now, as this is starting to get in control of IG overall in this game, despite not having the Aegis. I mean, that's the fact that Team Spirit has not been able to use this Aegis to really any effect is really unfortunate for them.
It is worrisome for Spirit how hard a time they have counter-initiating. It's also worrisome that
continuing the onslaught. Source Staff Mira. He's just going to get chased though. They have so much health regen thanks to Ollie. That's going to be another easy kill for IG. Might be a turnaround here. Yataro forcing the BKB out of JT at the very least. We'll see if they can regroup here, but it feels like just dominoes falling one by one in the last minute or so.
For sure. Yeah, with the BKB on Slaughter and Monkey King, what happens in these fights effectively is IG, when they have superior vision, they just jump and go. And the Radiant, what response do you have to BKBs? You literally have Fiend's Grip on your position 5 Bane. If he gets stopped by anything, you have anywhere between 6 and 9 seconds just ready to roll for these cores. And it's because of the amount of burst damage that they have, Team Spirit are almost guaranteed to lose a key hero in that in those initial few seconds. Leshrac also with the BKB, of course, should mention that one, so... Yeah, it's problematic for Spirit. I think the saving grace for them later can be Invoker becomes amazing when BKBs get low. So when all of them drop to 6, maybe you can stay alive just long enough to get all of that control out. Tornado and Ice Wall. Ice Wall awesome against both Monkey King and Slaughter.
Yeah, and this, I mean, next Roche is not spawning anytime soon, but this is, the second Roche is going to decide the game, I feel like. If IG is able to secure it, it's going to be super hard for Spirit to actually come back into this game. And they obviously take it really fast.
Not going into the triangle. They know this is coming from IG. And in the meantime, Toronto Tokyo. This is something we saw him do a lot at the Animator. Yeah. Playing these side lanes alone on the opposite side of the map. Even on heroes that aren't necessarily very good at it, he would still find a way to do it. In this game, Bosswex Invoker good at this.
Collapse.
No. Getting collapsed
pursuing.
All
right,
good.
Blink TP. Looks like he's fine.
All right.
Yeah, Sprint was offline for a moment there for JT, so couldn't close the gap, as it were. And Toronto Tokyo forcing out TPs like you said. So, I mean, realizing that they're behind, it's not an insurmountable lead for or against IG, but still split pushing, forcing the TPs out, expending some resources, getting them on the other side of the map. You can see the heat map for Toronto Tokyo.
Wow.
Obviously, the red portion is mostly the laning stage, I would assume, but starting to spread the wealth to some degree. Yeah, we have 3 BKBs right now on IG and only 1 so far for Spirit. As Toronto Tokyo still working on his. Is it on the way? Let's see. Oh, he still needs like 700 gold to actually finish it, so dropping off the farm despite having that Midas.
Poshka's thinking about this. It is a really hard angle. Oh, they're going to get backstabbed as well. Kaka finds Yatoro.
He gets off the morph, though. Nice dodge with that BKB from JT. They're just going to apply all their pressure to Yatoro, still stuck inside this Wukong's command, but he's going to be good to go. And now Team Spirit likely on the retreat. Get up a nice tornado to slow things up, and a finger of death. They're going to find at least one, does IG.
You should be happy if you're Spirit that
Absolutely.
That was the worst. That could have gone so much worse. Yatoro got off a clutch E-Blade right before the 4th hit from Slaughter for that bash. And they do manage to get out basically everyone here, except Mira, catching his 7th death. Has as many deaths as his team has kills.
That's usually not a good sign.
Absolutely not, but and especially he's ET, right? But they're doing a really good job on IG of just finding him in these fights. ET can often stand very, very far behind the fights, but Monkey King and Slaughter just have his number, and they have the number of himself as well.
Poshka is going to try to get saved by Toronto Doki, but it's not going to happen. Kaka jumps in with the Hex into the double impale. Fly gets off his beautiful right clicks. Double kill for Fly. And Team Spirit are starting to crumble. Thunder and Collapse is going to take it out in turn. Tier 1 tower to follow. 6K network lead, and it's only growing from here.
Yeah.
And Roche will be
7K.
relatively shortly. Would you like to count the numbers with me?
Did you grow up on Sesame Street?
Not really.
You don't know
Big
the
Bird
count.
really scared me.
You don't know the counting song, I'm assuming.
I don't know how to count.
I don't actually think it goes to 7. They start out with the easy course first.
That's not helpful.
No, I know.
No wonder America's screwed.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire
Emo here
structures are fortified.
has the Diabolic Edict going. It's going to force out the fortification. And it looks like this is going to be another tower going the way of Team Spirit, or Team IG, I should say. And I think at this point, they're probably just waiting for Roche. Yes, just keep it up, Cinder. You're doing great.
Yep, they're getting a bounty run. Is this 9K?
It's going to be close, I'm sure. We're going to see the replay here.
It's 9K.
Yeah, good attempt from Toronto Tokyo to save his comrade there, but you can see the Kaka initiation with the nice stun from Kaka onto 2 there as well.
Speaking of 9K, a little bit of trivia. Do you know who was the first player in the world to get 9K MMR?
Miracle?
Yes. Do you know who played against him in the game? He got 9K.
Cinderin.
Yes, correct.
All right, that was pretty easy, actually.
I know.
Thank you.
That's my main contribution to Pub Dota. Boosting the confidence of others. It's very good.
Appreciate that. Yatoro. Emo and Ollie hooked up right now and transporting themselves to another dimension, it seems. So 8K net worth lead for IG. They're just waiting for this second Roche, and if they're able to get it, you can see Toronto Tokyo trying to scout it out, but just spawned right afterwards. Oh man, that is actually really unlucky, but then again, it was pretty late into the timer for Roche regardless. So they just need JT in the vicinity, and they can take that super duper fast. This is going to be the Aegis and Shard this time around, Cinderin.
Now it's time for your favorite question.
Yes.
Cinderin, who should they give the shard to?
It's going to be Emo. We can be pretty sure of this. Fly's is pretty decent, but I don't really see it that often picked up. Damn. There we go.
There it is. The first shard of the TI main stage goes to Emo.
And that is
great call, Suns fan.
The split earth that just creates more bigger split earths in a delay. Very nice. Usually really good for high ground defense, but something tells me IG's not going to need it specifically for that, if the game continues to go in this trajectory.
It's really nice zone control, and you look at their lineup, they have so many stuns that they can likely get off the double value on a single target, right? If you get, let's say, Lion Hex into Split Earth, then you can Earth Spike, and then you can Slaughter a stun, and then the second Split Earth proc will come in again. You even have Boundless as well, so very, very nice. Honestly, I wouldn't have blinked them if they put the Shard onto Io. This is a really good game for that, considering what friends he has here. But they are opting to put it on the core first. Emo.
That must make you really sad as a support player.
I like to see the success of others. Oh, good Yule.
Not gonna hit because of the tornado here. Collapse gets a nice spear into the tower. Actually blows up Emo, and now the beautiful Mars Arena onto 2. Buyback is still available if he wants to use it, but Toronto Tokyo takes a lot of damage, able to force that to safety thanks to this Earth Splitter coming out. Ollie, that's a triple kill for Yatoro. Luckily for IG, 1 gets out. And Kaka, all right, Glimmer. I think they spotted him though. They're going to try to chase Kaka
four
here.
different colored pings around his body.
Ooh!
Oh.
E-Blade not able to finish him off in style with the Sunstrike. All right.
No way.
Oh my God, Kaka! Are you serious? He gets out after all that.
Damn.
Either way, great defense from Team Spirit. Obviously, Aegis was not on emo.
Yeah,
Questionable.
Exactly. It's a bit questionable to maybe have him push that tower without the Aegis. You could have let Monkey King do this with the Desolator and the IO behind for protection, but
yeah,
they were just not expecting this play. Super well set up there. Collapse going for that high-value spear, and the follow-up arena is just as good. And that was about a 3k gold swing. They still don't claim the Aegis, though. Back to live. Kaka is asleep. Now he's awake. And that was really exciting.
Thank you.
And now it's over.
Can we get a highlight of first terrible highlight of the game, as Scotty is now picked up for Fly, so he is hitting critical mass here pretty soon, Cinder, and he is mega farmed overall. But I mean, on the other side, Yataro still top of the net worth. He has actually got the Titan Sliver drop as well from the jungle. So
very good for Morph.
One of the best heroes in the game for that, no doubt. So he has the Manta BKB and E-Blade going for, I would assume, Scotty next. Yeah, it looks like it is. But 6k net worth lead for IG overall right now, still with the Aegis in tow.
This is a big movement. They have the smoke coming out. Relocate is available from bottom.
Toronto Tokyo gets initiated on by JT. They are going to destroy him. Does have buyback, though.
Okay.
But a nice pick off for IG. And still with about a minute and a half to go on the Aegis, so obviously want to use it in some capacity here.
It's important for Spirit to not get cornered here. They do have a good ward seeing this movement in from Fly, but he can be as he can be as confident as he wants. There's no way they kill him twice.
Yeah, they see him, and there's the crush to cancel the TP. Echo Stomps can be canceled as well, so a second freebie.
Kaka trying to get the courier
for IG.
And he won't. Uses that shield. Someone at Valve was really thinking hard about what to call this invincibility ability of the courier, and after a lot of deliberation, they ended up with shield. I think very good.
I think it's a solid choice.
Very good choice. It's up there together with bash and amplify damage as very good descriptive names for abilities.
I miss those, actually.
I liked amplify damage, honestly.
I agree.
I think
now it's corrosive haze.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Viper skill, honestly.
It really does, actually.
And calling out, he corrosive hazes them does not sound super hype, I'm not going to lie. But then again, amplified damage had that same issue, so whatever.
It was nicely descriptive, though. You kind of knew what you were going to do.
Very true, but Fly and company. Kaka gets off the Hex. Makoshka is in the vicinity, has the Nightmare available, but Yataro taking a ton of damage. E-Blade himself here. Tornado gets Yuled, and it looks like he's just going to drop inside the Wukong's command. Has buyback. Makoshka gets jumped. Double kill for Fly. And with this, IG will try to force out these two buybacks that Spirits still have. That's one. Yeah. That's not the important one. Keep in mind, Aegis is running out soon.
A little bit of a life pro skill here, showcased by Fly. If you're ever in trouble in real life, make sure you turn into a banana. Then nothing can happen to you.
That's a great life advice.
Yes, you're welcome. Probably a 5-minute crafts video about that somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And everything's on the internet, or so I'm told.
Okay.
Oh, we got the Earth Splitter coming out, and Collapse with the initiation. Buyback from Yataro as well. Can they take out Fly? Absolutely. And inside the Mars Arena are 3, but the BKB allows Emo to run out safely and TP to base. Kaka again gets out. So only finding one, but still an important kill.
It's a couple of really good defensive play calls here from Collapse. Again, finding that setup on the Monkey King as the Aegis expired. But the problem is you had to buy back your Morph, or did you, right? Like maybe that could have even worked without the Morph buyback, but it's like an impossible judgment call to make in the moment, so you will generally see the core buy back there.
Yeah.
But it makes that win a lot more bittersweet, because you have an opening now for IG to win the game flat out by just killing the Morphling one more time now. And you're not going to be able to get anything meaningful in this minute that the Monkey King is still dead. There's no Roche. All of your waves were pushed pretty far, so you need to just spend this time putting out fires across the map so that you can start maybe finding a move when all the enemy team is alive again.
There is a DD top, and there is a Morphling in the game.
Yeah,
quite possibly the best hero to have a double damage on, or one of them at the very least. Has a Scotty, now does Yataro, so obviously not saving for buyback at this point since he does not possess one.
Yep. That's why buy all out. He gets the
unfortunately
bottle.
for Team Spirit, they're not able to force any buybacks from Fly. That would have been pretty big, but pretty risky as well.
This is, I'm not going to call it a Hail Mary move, but it's likely to decide the game here from Team Spirit. If this move fails and Morph dies, things are looking very grim. They will. I like it from them, though. You've got to take this kind of initiative if you want to make a comeback and win this game eventually. You can't just sit back and play chicken for 8 minutes. So they will see if they can find an invasive move into the enemy triangle.
Miposhka is the frontliner here. Smoke is popped.
Oh, Emo's just straight in.
Emo jumps in. He's getting decimated, but there's a save from Ollie for now. But no, there's too much damage to withstand. He does not have buyback.
Oh, the
JP
spear.
is next on the list. Double kill for Yotaro. As it looks like Fly with the BKB will get out of dodge, but a triple kill now for the Morphling. And nice arena from Collapse. They find Fly. This will be an enormous kill. He targeted the Monkey King for just a moment. Ultra kill Yotaro. What a turnaround from Team Spirit. And making a rampage. Yotaro, beast mode enabled at TI-10.
Okay.
Dyer's
That is 2 buybacks, and they're going for buildings
What a
here.
win now.
Holy Gaben. They're going through. That's alacrity onto Yotaro. They force the fortification. Remember, 2 of these core heroes do not have buyback for IG right now. They use the last one remaining. That is a tier 4 tower. See if they can actually defend. Kafka actually just fingers Collapse to death, but he buys back into the game. We'll be back shortly. Alacrity again onto the Morphling. Going for the tier 4 tower. This will be an enormous turnaround for Team Spirit. Boundless strike from afar. They're just waiting as long as possible for their Leshrac to come back. 15 seconds for him. That's so far away. Fly just getting kited from afar. Yotaro continuing to hit the Ancient. They might be backing up though. Nope, he pops the BKB. Going back in with the Alacrity, going for the Ancient. Will they be able to get this Yotaro? Trying to get bursted down. They're going to get it. Team Spirit. Unbelievable turnaround. Holy Gaben. I literally cannot believe that they just won that game. Oh my goodness. Cinderin.
I mean, it's
What the hell just happened?
It's one thing that they pull off that confident move into the KP into 3 enemy heroes.
In the coffin in there for Team Spirit. They were down 8K. They lost the second rush. We thought that would be it, but able to just come back with a vengeance. And my goodness, what a display from Team Spirit. Cannot believe it. But let's see what the panel has to say about this crazy, crazy turnaround. Sorry, it was to the panel we go.
Was he apologizing then for Team Spirit finishing so suddenly before we didn't even expect it? We were running to the desk like, what is happening? Because it seemed that what was happening was Yotaro and Collapse are the perfect duo in Dota right now. I mean, out of the teams we've seen play at the main stage, approximately 2. Trent, what did you make of that epic turnaround right at the end?
Well, you know, in the Oxford English Dictionary, the last word is ziziva. But here at TI, the last word, it's BSJ, and he covered it. He talked about burst damage, and what just happened in that game? Burst damage. I know he was talking about IG, I think, mostly. But turns out he actually knew all along that it was going to be the big plays in the end with the burst damage, and that's what happened. There was no time for the actual save with the relocate coming out from Ollie, and it cost him.
It's definitely a game where IG will be kicking themselves a bit because they were the ones who were dictating play the entire game, even till the very end in some sense, except for that one smoke move. They were trying to breach high ground multiple times, and Team Spirit just coordinate all their spells so well to burst these heroes.
Yeah, it was just a huge amount of single target damage. It was the double damage on Morphling that he got to use in that fight. Tons of right-click, collapse hit really nice initiations as well, so even after they won the initial fight and they go for the chase down, he catches the Monkey King behind the tier 2. The creep wave was in the right position, so all of a sudden it was like we got all these crucial kills, and it's a tier 2 tower, and they weren't necessarily saving for a buyback because they were so far ahead. It just opened up the game in such a big way.
Well, should we go back to the very start now we've covered the end and talk about the draft? Because as the draft panel was saying, as BSJ was saying, the draft was very much looking like it was in ID's favor. It was very much a load of counter picks from Team Spirit. They were set up for the defense and they were able to capitalize. What did you think of the way that Spirit did draft against IG? Did you have your reservations, Trent?
Yeah, definitely. I think IG just strictly had an easier game because they get to, as Insania pointed several times, control the flow of the game. Because like basically Team Spirit had to wait until IG made a move and they had to respond. And the first best responses they had was going for that Roche. I mean, the first DD that they got right, got them in Aegis. That was nice, kind of delayed the game a little bit. And then later on, you have to like wait on that high ground and make that play. And I actually can't believe Claps hit that first spear back into the tower where they just wiped out Emo. That was massive for them.
Yeah. I think for IG, where things kind of fell short was just how they took high ground. I think putting the Aegis on Leshrac may have worked out better for them. I also think just not rushing high ground. They could have waited things out. One of the items that's really become prominent is Aeon Disc. Like get an Aeon Disc for that situation, like as a 5th, 6th item on your Leshrac. And Team Spirit can't burst these heroes down. So I think they kind of made a few misplays.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest one. The losing the Lesh on that cliff. It could have been a Rax there and said game slows down. But it's so weird to think about that game because all I can think about is team fight after team fight, Team Spirit just getting ran at. Invoker gets jumped on by Slardar, gets jumped on by Monkey King. He's like running away at 350 movement speed. Good luck escaping the enemy squad, but they just lost so many team fights. But all they needed was that one good fight with a creep wave in the good position, and they just got IG on the back foot.
Insane how they turn the tide of the game. Let's take a look at some of the key numbers, though, from that match. I mean, still catching my breath back from that turnaround at the end there. You can see in our rather glorious, big, beautiful monitor there. Any numbers that are jumping out to you, Gods?
Probably Yadoru's Morphling. I mean, as far as actually like, carrying the game, I think both, I mean, you look at the carriers on both sides, but he's the guy who really dished out some crazy damage in that last fight with the double damage. Played pretty clean throughout the game. Had a really tough time playing into Slardar with the single target burst damage, but he still made the pick work.
And his net worth was really high for the extent of the game as well. His lane was maybe a little rough, but he was on the top of the net worth charts even after he died top by the tier 2. And it was really nice for Morphling to be the frontliner in some cases because he was difficult to kill. Like right before that huge fight they had, he had 52 armor and he had the Titan Sliver. So he's actually very tanky against these minus armor solutions, even if some of those run at you problems exist in the early game.
Yeah, I just see Fly 10, 3, and 7, and I'm just like, I feel like that's the guy who's typing in the post game, about how didn't we win this game? Because I feel like we spent the entire time watching, basically talking about why IG was doing so well and why it looked like a sure victory for them moving forward, and then just got turned around.
With that said, though, for carry players, like you can have this great game, but all it takes is one mistake, and it's so crucial because you are so much net worth. You're so much of the map. It's like if he gets picked off and makes that one teamfight mistake, you realize as a carry player, you only get tops 2 of those a game before you lose. So.
And was it a case of it just being too fast from Team Spirit for IG to recover? Because that first Roche fight from Spirit, it looked like it could have been a mistake from IG. They were prioritizing the T2 tower, they took the outpost, and it was almost like they didn't even know the Roche fight was happening.
Yeah, no, that was, again, the DD rune definitely helps. Like, Morphling's one of the absolute best heroes in the entire game since it just doubles essentially all of your damage, the way you build Morphling. So it's super fast, and they grab that. But I think, for me, it was just, like, there were risky plays from Team Spirit throughout that entire game, and a lot of the times they were not going well. But, hey, the risk paid off in the end, and that's why you just got that snap victory.
It was just like such a small moment where like Bane shows in the tri-camp. They see him, they're like, oh, we've been winning the last 3 fights. Jump on it. They jump in, and all of a sudden he's committed. And then you don't have time to click on Morphling to see if he's a DD. And half the time you can't tell with the cosmetics anyways with everything flying around. So it's like you just don't. It just was such a split moment. It cost him everything.
And Fly in that situation, did he need to be set up towards the later game better by his teammates?
I think that was just maybe as a team they got kind of caught out by surprise there rather than Fly doing anything too wrong. By the time he got caught in the trees, things had already fallen apart. Emo's the one who should not have jumped in. He didn't have any backup, or the backup he had, the IO, the relocate saves weren't coming in. But really for me, it's like you got to give credit to Spirit for the fact they were willing to make those bold, risky plays, you call them, because so many teams when they're down like that, they'll just keep waiting on the high ground because they had success there. They were defending their high ground. They managed to kill heroes twice in the top lane as well as in the mid lane. But they said, no, we're winning these fights, but now let's go make another risky move on their side of the map.
IG, getting too confident? A little bit cocky?
Not
Feeling
anymore.
their own tingles? Was that an answer?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't brought tingles, and I don't know. This is all fresh for us here. I don't know.
Okay, I brought chaos to the desk. Absolutely, my apologies. Let's talk then about whether we think IG can recover, because they're definitely going to be feeling shaken after that finish, gods.
Yeah, I feel like for me, IG is a team who's going to look at that game. They've got a very experienced coach in Super, and just be able to say, hey, look, we dictated play. We made one crucial game-deciding mistake. I think IG will be happy with their draft, will be happy with their play throughout 99% of that game. And it's the kind of game where, yeah, losing that is heartbreaking, but you're in the best of threes now, and I think they can still get some confidence from it.
Are you also feeling positive about this purge? I mean,
Yeah,
we've
for
got to
sure.
think back to that reverse sweep at the Singapore Major, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure they have plenty of ability to take that one. The tough thing is it's going to hurt when they think about that game, certainly. All they got to do is close out the series, and they're going to be like, all right, we threw that one time, but it's okay. We came back. It's gonna build some confidence. But if they happen to lose this series, that's going to be like one of those Dota cringe moments for the rest of their life for sure.
Dota cringe. That's
Yeah,
what I was brought
we all
here
have
to
it.
do.
Who else has it? You guys all have it.
I feel it. That's my version of a tinker. It's the Dota cringe. Now, Spirit, they've got this little boost of confidence now, but could they get ahead of themselves? I know it's a cliche, but it's for a reason.
Most certainly, right? We're all guilty of that at times, but hopefully they can recognize that that game was gifted a little bit near the end. Yes, they capitalized on the mistakes, but a mistake nonetheless was there. So you still have to tighten up. Much like I think IG can look at that game and be like, guys, that in some ways that's an easy loss because yeah, we made one mistake, we lost, but it's okay. The rest of our game plan was very good. As Team Spirit, you need to recognize there were some issues, and we got a little bit lucky, got kind of bailed out. Awesome play, that was sick, but this wasn't actually the best situation that we were in at the end.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just like embracing, like, let's just play this bold, risky, because they're the underdogs. And I think the way you win in that situation is by just doing unexpected stuff, by, taking those perhaps at times, poor, risky plays, but they catch teams by surprise.
And this is the thing, when you look back at that game, Spirit were the ones making most of the mistakes.
Yeah, and that's because they kind of wanted to take fights, but they didn't have a super easy way to do it compared to their opponents. Their opponents had Slaughter that could jump in and initiate with a stun to set up other stuns. They could have Monkey King do it as well. Whereas on the Spirit side, like half the time, their disables were like the Immorphaling turning into a Monkey King and throwing a stun. So it wasn't as straightforward for them to take fights unless for some reason they had perfect vision over their opponents. So as long as IG played well, which they did, they didn't get a lot of opportunities in a lot of those early fights as well. They tried to jump in with collapse, BKBs are ready, which basically countered all of the heroes on the Spirit side. So they just had to keep fishing, and eventually they found one.
Well, the teams are taking back to the stage, and if they're feeling anything like me right now, their hands are incredibly sweaty because it's all down to IG now. Can they make this a 1-1 situation, or are they going to be shockingly heading down into the lower bracket at the end of this one? We were saying on the panel earlier, we were feeling maybe it's going to be a 2-1 situation. We just maybe expected IG to have the upper hand as we go into this one. But you know what? We've spoken enough about IG. Let's take a look at how Spirit got to the international.
Something hit him, but honestly, he's still going to be able to get the jump on Always Want to Fly. Oh, that BKB ain't going to save him. BKB, okay. As he instantly goes down, collapsed, he's going to be saved as well. The false promise comes out. The Lotus Orb as well allowed them to turn things around. They're in on top of Vichun. General off from the side, they've put the BKB. They've got to respect the Enigma. They've got to watch out for this black hole as Yutoro's waiting out that BKB. He wants to be able to try and help Toronto. Tokyo's now going to jump in over towards Vichun. He's found the bash. Vichun getting always trying to get the mana point now. Yutoro is able to find it. The black hole's down though, allowing Vichun to buy some time for himself, but the nuke damage there from Miposhka finishes Vichun. They get the kill on General. They're going to be able to clean up Iceberg as well as Team Spirit take down the entire squad of Na'Vi. Use the BKB for that attention. Toro got Pikachu jumping in. The Wraith King. Got him chain stunned. Can't stop him from taking the tower. Toro. First room one.
Whoa! Oh, the disrupt!
Oh, yeah,
the disrupt on the finger.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I saw him disappear. I was like, wait, he didn't die. He didn't lose the ult. He still got a good to go. Mirror with the perfect timing. All right, oh baby.
Luna has near 6K gold here. He sees a multi-shot. He sees him on top of the creep wave. Maposhka is kind of waiting. He's going to intercept the Centaur. Meanwhile, he turns around, gusts up, and kills the Invoker. Now Yutaro's got to get out of here. Toronto Tokyo is going to make sure that the Drow has an opportunity to do so with the coil. They can actually turn things around here. On the high ground, Drow not sure if she wants to be able to stumble into that one. Maposhka playing into this tree line. Meanwhile, the Oracle once again being harried constantly by the Toronto Tokyo. Glimmer caping up. Mickey's on in. Does manage to blow up one, but immediate buyback from Maposhka. Now he's stuck on this high ground with the Rams going in. Yotaro throwing damage from the low ground. It doesn't matter with your elevation. You've got him dead. Toronto Tokyo helps out with a double kill, and they don't have the buyback on Team Liquid. Toronto Tokyo now chasing after Taiga as well. He is relentless. He will not stop. He is not content until he brings down every member of Team Liquid, and he'll manage to get a third.
Spirit. Empire, lay down a ward. It's in vision. Dude, they're so afraid. Vanscore gonna get caught. Tornado.
It's finally happening.
Has that BKB. Arena gets thrown to all of them. Where's the follow-up though? Yutaro jumps in, wants to blow him up. There's gonna be the Sunstrike afterwards. From Tokyo landing all this damage on top of them. 3 are dead. Dude, what an arena from Collapse. In the moment they needed it, he gave it to them. Now, the Yule Scepter lifts up, trying to interrupt this arrow coming through, but the stun is there. They find the kill. 4 go down, and there's the champ. Give it to him as Team Spirit found that opening.
Oh, they want it.
Arrow
Sentry combo on the low ground.
Forward, Alacrity on the Smiling Knight. They want to find that back line, but the Curse Crown is there. Oh, the stun, it catches afterwards, and there's the, oh, what a connection. Yutaro jumps in, never a chance. Team Spirit makes the play, finds the kill. They're going to TI, Trent.
So I guess Invictus Gaming, they're going to be banning Mars in the next draft?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You see all those highlights, like collapse on the Mars, collapse on the Mars. Oh, hey, look, it's collapse. He's Marsing, you know? And we talked about it. We knew it was happening. They obviously knew it was going to be there, and then he performs like that. So, yes, good one. This is good insight. You're learning fast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll try not to get too ahead of myself, but it did seem like the arena was the common theme in Yutoro's success on Morphling, especially our first rampage of the main event. Trent, you've got some stats.
Yes, our helpful stats department here, thank you very much, has provided us only the 5th rampage ever in the TI playoffs.
I thought there would have been double that at least.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Committed by an 18-year-old. Murder on the Romanian National Arena dance floor. Can we call it a dance?
And usually when those rampages come, it's like the game's over decidedly already. This was like a comeback rampage into an insane finish. It was special.
You know, it was also special. Well, not special for a certain panelist over on the draft panel, seeing Liquid's demise at the hands of the teenagers of Team Spirit. It was getting slightly awkward in the studio, but it's okay because we felt sorry for him and we actually gave him a job. So you'll be meeting Aiden again in the draft panel very shortly once we are ready to get into things. There he is. Give him a wave. His first TI as well. It's all right. You're doing great. We are ready very soon to get into the lobby, but you know what? It's prediction time, boys. 10 seconds.
2-0.
IG bounce back.
2-1 Spirit.
Okay, let's get into game 2.
Team Spirit versus Invictus Gaming. Game 2.
Hello and welcome back to the draft panel. Once again, we have the pro that Frankie was talking about, Insania.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Weaver.
Dire team pick. Doom. Radiant team pick. Lion. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Legion Commander.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick.
Bang.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Yeehaw!
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Chaos Knight. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Morphling. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Shadow Fiend. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Imba Spirit.
Choose your hero.
那我走。
会不会玩呀？
也безумно хочу. 那我走。
Что вы от меня хотите?
Парни, що ми на драфт? Парни, що ми надрафтили?
With one of the worst segues of all time, BSJ does it again, ladies and gentlemen. Suns fan here with Cinderin. I mean, Gabe himself, Cinderin, would be really proud of BSJ in this case, and Team Spirit for coming back in a god tier game number 1. IG on the brink of going to the lower bracket.
Yeah, honestly, we can talk as much about the draft as we want and everything, but you got to talk about the mental game in a game like this. You were up really far. You were looking great. One moment, one key decision from Emo, and one great play from Team Spirit at the exact same time with a double damage rune, and the game just ended out of nowhere. You need to be able to cope with games like that. It will happen, and just reset mentally, get into the next game, and keep trusting your teammates, keep playing your best, and identify what the problem was so you don't make the mistake again. Because honestly, for the first 30 minutes of that game, IG were just better, and then they lost in 2, and that's very frustrating. But most teams at TI have been in a situation like that before, and it's a best of 3. Imagine if that was a best of 1 for IG. That would have been absolutely soul-crushing. That could happen later today to any of the teams. You never know, and these BO1s later down the line.
Yeah, those are scary. No doubt about it.
I do want to highlight Emo a little bit here, just because, so in that last game, like we talked about, this player is very, very aggressive in nature. He makes some insanely flashy plays, but he also has some maybe a little bit too crazy moves in the game. He is in a really bad lane matchup, and they chose to pick this into Shadow Fiend.
Right.
Let's see in the rune fight here. Not too much going to go down here. 2 for 2 runes it looks to be. Oh, 3 for 1 actually for Team Spirit, so a little bit of a head start there. This is one of Ember Spirit's worst mid lane matchups. It is really rough. Shadow Fiend will punish you all the time when you go for creeps. Flame Guard isn't strong enough to sustain against multi-race combos, so Emo should be... It's fair to say he's going to lose this lane unless he plays absolutely out of his mind. And again, that mental game, you know, let's say you're playing from behind as Ember in this game. Make sure you don't try to overcompensate by trying to get too crazy because you lost your lane.
Right.
And rather stick to the script here and...
Well, having said that, Emo, of course, this was discussed earlier, pre-game 1. The fact that at the Singapore Major, they were down 0-2 against EG, and Emo came back with a vengeance in game 3, and, well, they did a reverse sweep. So, like you said, the mental fortitude of this IG team is not... Like, if this was maybe a younger team, then I could see that being more of a case. Like, if this was split, maybe, or, sorry, if it was reversed for Toronto Tokyo or somebody on Team Spirit, I could see that perhaps having more of an effect. But IG, they have a lot of experience this year, especially, for sure. Well, top lane, we have Fly on the Morphling with Ollie's Bane. So Bane is going to be on the opposing team this time around against Mira's Snapfire and Collapse on the Legion Commander. Legion Commander, one of those heroes where doesn't feel like... It feels like a press the attack hero lately. Getting more so by the year, Cinderin.
Yep.
Are we expecting the duel to be the actual initiator, or are they looking for something else?
You're expecting press the attack to become the ult and duel to become a regular spell.
I mean, as much as I love the Theory Craft, that is, I mean, it is his ult, is her ult for the most part, let's be real. But yeah, initiation-wise, what is Team Spirit looking for? Like when you get to the mid to late game?
First of all, this lane in itself, the Legion Snapfire lane, I think is very strong. And again, by laning against Morphling, should be having a good time to begin. So Collapse will probably be able to find a decent timing on Blink Dagger. I do think... Oh, good cookie up top. Fly
oh my goodness! Overwhelming odds and Scatterblast. Are you kidding me?
They were not ready for that. Ollie with the Nightmare was not enough, just too late.
Absolutely. So first blood, the way of Team Spirit. They obviously have the momentum after that last game. I mean, that's an understatement, no doubt about it. And we'll see if Toronto Tokyo can get off that good start that you were discussing. He should be. Right now, 13-4 to the Emo's 10-0, so not too far behind. As Kaka looks like he's going to get taken out by Yatoro. As JT looks like he'll limp away. Has that swarm applied right now, so lots of minus armor.
Yeah. Team Spirit's lanes are really good this game. Shadow Fiend against Ember, I would say they're favored. Chaos Knight does very well against Doom in lane. It's maybe less so than it used to be because Doom got some armor. He used to be a 0 armor hero, but then he got some base armor and Devour stopped healing you. But still, this heavy physical damage lane can be very good against Doom. And like we already covered the top lane. So honestly, I could foresee a situation here where Team Spirit just end up winning all 3 lanes hands down. And then it's about whether IG, similar to last game, just make the better moves in that mid game. But it's a very good look currently for Team Spirit.
Yeah, and we talk about Roche a lot, probably because I have some obsession with him that we won't speak of at TI-10 main stage, of course, but Team Spirit have a lot of minus armor to be able to take out Roche.
Yeah.
I would say they definitely have the advantage, and they don't really have, like for IG, as we're going to see, the Cookie Connect, and Ollie is in quite a bit of hurt. Scatterblast into the right click, not even needing the overwhelming odds, so a little bit of waste of mana there, but Spirit, again, 3rd kill on the board.
Yeah. And Emo struggling, right? You're seeing it here. At the very least nowadays, he's going to get a water rune here. Oh, Miposhka really wanted to steal it. That might actually cost him his life.
Miposhka, of course, the support Weaver, so that Shikuchi will not come back online in time.
Crucial for IG that Kaka is there. If that rune gets stolen by Weaver, Emo's actually just flat out of the lane. He's still going to struggle here. He took some damage, but at least the kill on Weaver is... It's a little bit of a comeback. He is a full level behind though, minute 4, and that is without a kill. Shadowfiend 23 and 11 to the 10 and 0 of the Ember. Now you knew what you were getting yourself into with this pick. You can't be surprised.
Yeah. So what's the plan for Emo after, or I guess the extended laning stage into the mid game? How do you get back into the game? Is it just kills? You go try to get some stacks with Flame Guard?
I think there's some key items. I think Doom's BKB is really important in this game. Probably the Lion Dagger. Until you have these key items, it feels a little bit tricky for your lineup to find openings, especially if Ember isn't having a particularly good game. Oh, fly.
So close. Has to waveform away. But living on the edge again. I mean, that is kind of the Morphling's job, right? To min-max. That's position 1's favorite thing to do in general. And
yeah, I guess he's keeping Ollie's pulse at a constant 120 here at least.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Now bot lane, we're going to see the Earth Spike connect. But there's a swarm on top of JT, so he has to be careful. Actually, he already killed it, looks like. And, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of Weaver support. We've seen a couple... I want to say we cast one game where it's position 1. But for the most part...
Kaka bottom.
Oh,
he's just...
All right.
Oh, great
stop from JT. Beautifully done. That'll save his teammate. Never mind. Reality Rift back in. Kaka dies. So, maybe... miscalculating the amount of damage that it actually does, but...
I think he might not have thought Reality Rift was ready, even. But, yeah, looking great again here for Team Spirit. And I say again, the last game did not look great for them, but they won. So they are looking good off the back of a win. Miposhka going to steal that bounty rune away as well. Now, will be spotted out by Kaka.
Yeah, better be careful. Earth Spike's there. JT in the vicinity as well. That's going to be an easy cleanup.
But if this is a trade, that's great.
Yeah, JT, that's a Phantasm. JT has to pop the wand. Has the swarm still applied, so ticking down very slowly. Yatoro, not much mana to speak of. One more right click does it though. Killing spree for Yatoro at the 6.5 minute mark.
I actually think that attack needed to be a critical strike. So only 1 in 3 times will Yatoro get that kill.
That's good math, Cinderin.
Thank you. I did Sesame Street counting class. The upgrade was statistics, actually.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. What was
we started out early in Denmark.
What was the character that did statistics?
Don't show the crowd that I don't know anything about Sesame Street.
Okay, so you lied to the crowd. I see. Fly. Gonna take some harassment here in the top lane. It's a 1v2 right now. He has no teammates nearby, but he seems to think he's going to be just fine. Collapses continue. He actually gets a couple procs of his passive as well. Overwhelming odds with the Cookie as well. And Scatterblast just finishes off Fly. And now we see a Chaos Bolt into the Reality Rift. JT taking heavy damage will be fine. But Cinder, if I didn't know any better, I would say IG is somewhat tilted from game 1. They're playing very un-IG-like right now.
I don't know if tilted is the right way of looking at it. They're just playing against a team that's on fire that have better lanes. And Team Spirit are just not making mistakes in these lanes. They're finding aggressive moves. They're playing... What I really like about this top lane from them is how constantly they are putting that pressure on Fly. The reason they find the kills to begin with is that he's half health, right? Or third health. From just Mira laying into him over and over and over in the laning stage. And it's just been paying big dividends here. Top 3 net worth is theirs. Keep in mind, one of the heroes in the game is an offlane Doom, who is in fourth right now with that Devour level 3. So that is a very, very good sign here for Team Spirit in this early game.
Right.
I'm always a little bit concerned about Shadow Fiend strategies because I feel like this hero is one of the ones that suffers the absolute most from dying and is the most snowball reliant as a mid hero. But it also is incredible when you are ahead like this.
Trying to turn this Nightmare into an aggressive play instead. Collapse, gets off the duel. It's not going to result in the kill. It looks like will be close. The winner is Ollie, the Bane Elemental, with massive damage now. 2 dead. IG get the amazing trade there.
I think with this plus 10 damage on Bane, now Ollie can start. Now he has wave clear.
Position 1 Bane, let's go.
That was what he was missing. Now with... Okay, let me give you a question here. Can you think of a worse hero to win a duel on?
Ooh. Lion?
Definitely better. He will attack in between his stuns,
Bane
right?
attacks during Nightmare, Cinderin.
Does he? In mid-game?
I mean, Bane almost doesn't exist at that time in the game. In a lot of games that we've cast, at least, as we see. Actually, a Midas picked up here by Yatoro. So, going for the, I guess you can call it a bit greedy, but they are off to an amazing start. So this is just going to amplify their farm. What are your thoughts on that item pickup?
I think CK really wants it in general. It's just one of CK's downfalls is that he doesn't have very good farming potential compared to a lot of other carries, right? Like the meta carries now have some sort of wave clear or illusions, whatever it is. Chaos Knight, sure, you can use Phantasm to farm as well. It's not terrible, but it's not constant. So the way this hero works, having a Midas really helps.
That's true. There was a short period of time where Battle Fury was a thing, but Battle Fury doesn't seem to be picked up by anybody unless it's Anti-Mage, the one game that we actually cast.
Now check out this Chaos Knight set. His face looks like Axe.
Okay.
It's Axe's cousin. Do we have lore on this?
Wow, you're right. Actually, I thought you were kidding.
It's Jeremy Kahn.
Jeremy Kahn.
There it is.
At it again. What a god. Fly is going to TP out, so this looks to be a free tower for Team Spirit, and we'll see if it ends up being a trade of tier 1s overall.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I wonder if there's some lore combining Doom and Axe in some regard. I guess we can ask Slacks on our time off here. That's going to be the tower for Spirit. Pushka is in the vicinity, gets off the swarm. We'll see if they want to TP to actually try to defend, but it looks like Collapse is TP mid instead. Kaka's going to get off the Hex. The Mirror's in the air as well. Koki not going to be able to land.
Yeah, nice
but it will be
there.
enough to defend the tower.
But yeah, the defense here from Collapse, very important. You don't want to give this up at all. And your trade-off, you're going to lose the bot tier 1. Actually, JT mistiming the last hit there. It goes to the siege creep, but most importantly for IG, a little bit of breathing room, right? Like those 2 kills they just found make a very big difference. And you're getting Emo a little bit into the game as well, closing in on Maelstrom. I imagine he's going to go for a 1-4-4 build here. Felt forced to max Flame Guard, which I think Ember players actually don't like to do unless they have to.
Yeah.
A lot of the times nowadays, Embers want to max out Sleight of Fist. It's just way more team fight damage to have that low cooldown, especially when you get that Maelstrom. But the lineup, it's going to time pretty well with the Maelstrom when he gets level 4 Sleight, so it's probably going to be fine.
Axe's heart goes out.
This is a very unpredictable smoke, might I add. He was literally just pushing out the top wave, TP'd mid, and instantly with Kaka into the triangle.
Oh, double courier kill? Oh, Maposhka. Oh, grenade attack for the win.
There's one more.
Mid lane.
It's pretty far away, but he's waiting.
We'll find out very shortly. Fiend's Grip in the mid lane, and that is going to be a freebie for IG. Looks
goes to Fly. He needs it so badly, too.
Everybody needs it so badly.
Miposhka, 3 couriers.
Mortimer's kisses. Kaka is going to take a tumble. So it's a 1-for-1, but obviously position 1 for support. IG will take that trade. As I hear a pig pull.
Who has the pig pull?
I hear it's a global sound, as we've discussed many a time. Very important to know that it's being cast.
It's
JT into the jungle. I mean, we talked about this in our group stage matches, but Doom kind of like a mini alchemist where you're devouring creeps, your goal is a little bit inflated versus what the actual reality is a lot of the time. So this 2K network league for Spirit is probably like 3, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
Something around there, but he is starting to ramp it up. 2nd in net worth on that Doombringer, so we'll see what kind of itemization he chooses to go this time around.
It is a really good Shivas game, isn't it? Like you really want that against the Chaos Knight, and you want it against just the overall minus armor that the Radiant has, like the panel talked about. So I feel like Dagger BKB Shiva it's a go-to anyway for Doom, but it feels extra good this game. Vashiva's guard. Definitely going to be seeing that coming out later. Emo currently rocking a DD rune in the bottle and has those 4 points in slides. So this is actually a very strong time for IG to look for a potential fight, and they will smoke now. They have Doom. No Fiend script for this play. But Doom and Finger are online. If they find anyone,
the jump in with the duel. This would be a huge kill for Team Spirit. They're going to find Emo. That is damage going the way of Collapse.
These are the best moves. Not only do they get the kill, but it actually negates all of IG's plans there.
Yeah.
If that happens 5 seconds later, IG are in position and they get the save, but instead, Emo dies, Spirit get the mid-tower, and IG waste a smoke. So absolutely huge timing there from Team Spirit to make that move at the exact same time IG were doing it. Just really good stuff.
Money changes hands.
Yatoro right now has the casual Sage. We'll be finishing the S and Y, it looks like, into Aetherland. So is this going to be one of those Octarine games, potentially? Cinderin?
Wait, which hero?
Chaos Knight. He's going for the crazy magic. Well, not all of its magic, but Aetherlands with Shard into Octarine.
Do you go Octarine after Sange and Yasha only? I'm not sure about that.
The Sange and Yasha in combination is a little odd, and the fact that he's position 1 makes it a little bit odd as well, in my opinion, but we'll see.
It's not... I'd say the CK isn't the most played hero at this tournament, so it's kind of hard to decide what is meta, right? When there's so few games. It is a feel-good item to at least get the lens, just because it helps you so much with connecting.
Yep. Oh, the pink pull saved him! Did you see that? Cinderin, admit it. Admit to me right now on stream. Keep in mind, Legion has the talent for the extended range. He would have gotten the duel off.
Did it actually save him?
Yes. As we see a Requiem of Souls from Toronto, Tokyo, but Fly is perfectly fine. TP's coming in mass, and TP's canceled in mass.
How did that go so wrong?
I don't know.
He was not really very close to killing Fly.
Much like cordwood before axe's axe. Dire's top tower is under attack.
There's the duel that they've been looking for. Mortimer's Kisses as well. The Nightmare trying to save Emo. It's going to be close. Gets off the slight, and away he goes. That'll save him, and Collapse ends up being the casualty for Team Spirit. Very nice save.
Yeah, and it's big for Kaka to get that finger kill. He's close to Dagger now.
Yeah, and that's when he starts to really show his impact on the game. Some more item updates. Obviously, Yatoro's still sitting on the same items that we discussed because we talked about it literally 30 seconds ago. Toronto Tokyo has the Dragon Lance and about 1,000 away from finishing a BKB, as it looks like. And as with many games, it feels like the BKBs are kind of the go time. For Team Spirit. Ollie is going to be spotted. There's the cookie initiation into the duel. Easy victory for Collapse.
Silver lining there is if Ollie isn't there, that death is probably JT. So, but Team Spirit are going to immediately look to Roche. They only have level 1 little shredder. But they have a lot of other minus armor. Presence of the Dark Lord, the Swarm, and a Blightstone, I think. So this goes pretty quick.
The Radiant now pick through Roshan's
and they will not forget the Aegis.
That's good.
Very good.
That happens occasionally if you're just joining us. May seem impossible.
That is a play that is reserved for TI winners.
That's true.
Team Spirit do need the Aegis.
Right. So Aegis on Toronto Tokyo, as kind of the panel talked about his build. It's going to be more right-clicky. We're not really seeing the magic damage as much anymore with the old arcane blink and Yules and all that good stuff, which means he's the one that has to be set up, which obviously duel is kind of a nice one for him to Requiem on top of.
It's going to get slept here.
Yeah, slept to start things out, but there's the duel, and it's going to be another victory for Collapse. JT gets his Doom off this time, pops the BKB. It'll be a trade of sorts.
He might get denied.
Well, we'll see. He's going to the creep area. Fly. Looks like he'll finish him off with the Chikuchi. JT in the meantime, look at this damage coming out the Mortimer's Kisses. JT better be careful. He pig pulls himself. Potential safety cinder. It's going to be close. Oh, he's actually going to live. Pig pull MVP again.
He's still down.
Never mind. Pig pull made no way. Wait for it. They baited him with pig pull. Cinderin, admit it. That's 2 times in one game. I've never seen it before.
This is actually the best game for Pig Pull I've ever seen. We've not even seen one time that it mattered. Now it's been twice in a row.
Holy jeez. And that extra armor that was given to him not too long ago, really showing its worth there, I have to say. Just living on the edge yet again. All right, so IG have kind of come back with a bit of a vengeance here. Still 3.5 minutes on the Aegis, though. And
the big thing in that fight, though, Yatoro died on Chaos Knight. He's dying with Midas ready, so there's like a bit of extra value lost. And just because he's such a high-level hero when you go for this build, it does give IG a lot their way. So you're going to see the start here. They will commit everything, and they do kill the Bane, but at what cost?
At what cost? That is true. This was a close deny onto the neutrals here, but Fly able to turn into Weaver temporarily. And you can see the instant rape, but this is the important part. The pig pull right there. Look at that. Just beautifully done. Oh, very nice.
It's about as close as it gets.
Indeed. I actually can't believe he didn't die to the wreck. I mean, this is a support Weaver, so no real damage to come. So it makes sense. All right, so this is pretty even game. Obviously with the Doom, it makes it a little bit harder to distinguish the network discrepancies, but again, Aegis still there. So look for Team Spirit to try to put something together.
And the thing that's worth keeping in mind here is remember that Team Spirit were 3 or 4 K gold ahead, right? So you've clawed yourself back into a position where... Oh, Miposhka, no sentry down. It's going to be fine. Just looking at the overall strengths of the lineups right now, Chaos Knight does not have that much going his way. With like the overall value, let's look at, if you look at his net worth, right? He has 10K net worth. What's the effective net worth of his items in the inventory? Midas, very bad item for what it costs. Energy Booster does nothing for what it costs except give you a bit of mana pool. So you could say, yeah, he has 10K net worth, but compared to the Morph and the Doom, their items just do more for now. This Energy Booster needs to be turned into something. The Midas needs more time to really pay off. So I think it's fair to say that IG are actually kind of far ahead right now in the game, in this current point in time. And the only advantage Team Spirit really have is the Aegis of the Immortal that it looks like they won't find a use for unless they find a fight in the next minute.
Yeah, it's looking less likely now as they're just content to farming away here. Looks like Shadowblade is on the menu for Toronto, Tokyo. And Collapse has his armlet blade mail.
Will he buy the shard on right-click Shadow Fiend?
Oh boy, we'll have to discuss that in just a moment. The potential save, but Collapse is going to get bursted. Takes the Fiend's Grip and the finger.
Well, that'll kill you.
And that means Aegis will not be used in any effective manner.
And the tower is going to fall. It's all IG. This looks like last game, except the laning stage was way better this time for Spirit. But after this 10 to 15 minute mark, it's just IG finding the correct moves. Emo now completing that Lincoln Sphere, going to make it way easier for him to navigate the map as well. What do they have that removes the Lincoln so that they can duel? They have Reality Rift. That's it. Like, there's actually nothing else that they could do it with. So this item is insane this game.
Needs to itemize a halberd or something like that for sure, but even then, makes a little bit more awkward. All right.
Kaka opting not to dust there. Interesting. I think I don't know if he thought Miposhka time-lapse to somewhere else, but he was right on top of him. Could have dusted and probably Earth Spike there. But
well, Spirit Vessel is officially completed now in Miposhka, so against a hero like Morphling, pretty high value overall. But we've talked about it before. The reason you pick Weaver, other than the laning stage with the Swarm and whatnot, is really the Aghanim Scepter, which is obviously very far away at this stage.
Yep.
But
did complete the Vessel against Morph, which makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right. I literally just said that. Thanks for joining us on this cast of the TI main stage. My co-caster literally doesn't listen to me at any point.
It's kind of crazy that we've cast together for so long and it still surprises you that I don't care.
No, I just want the public to know. I already know you're not a good friend.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Really appreciate you, though.
If you're tuning in for the first time, then welcome.
Yes, well said, Cinder, and thanks. Very eloquent as always.
The red mist spreads at Radiant's middle
I'm
tower.
very interested to see, though. Okay, he did get Aetherlands, but is now going for Silver Edge and has the shard right now in the CK. So Chaos Bolt will create the illusion. So he gets the extended range for obviously Chaos Bolt and Reality Rift. So we'll see how that works out in their fight. But you're right, it feels like kind of not super effective yet.
Yeah. So looking over items, what has just happened? So Morph has got an Eagle Song. Oh, interesting shard on the Chaos Knight. That will make his Chaos... I'm kidding.
No,
Of course I'm
that was a
listening.
little obvious.
Of course.
Good effort overall.
Of course I listen to what you say.
Oh,
don't you worry.
We have a smoke from Team Spirit. See what they're able to do with this. Looks like IG, based on the way they're farming, might be aware. Oh, Collapse jumps in with that BKB. The Nightmare safe for now, but Bane takes the brunt of the damage. The Requiem of Souls doing massive damage as well to J2, who gets off his BKB and dies immediately after. So 2 good kills for Team Spirit.
Very nice for Team Spirit there. Might get a tier 2 tower off this move mid, potentially. 40 seconds on Doom is pretty important here, but of course Phantasm being expended there as well might stop them from pushing. It's running out in 3 seconds, and Chaos Knight without Phantasm, fair to say, not really a very good hero. Like, it's been important for Chaos Knight over the years that the cooldown on this ultimate has dropped so much. What do you think the cooldown is off the top of your head of Phantasm right now? What would you guess? 90. It's 75. I think it used to be 2 minutes. So it's a lot shorter than it used to be. Kaka?
We have a Hex, Miposhka. Actually, time lapse is in place, but it worked
Very
out.
nice sidestep there by Miposhka in the trees to avoid the Earth Spike from Kaka, and therefore gets the lapse and gets
Flyfly
out.
is also working on a Lincoln Sphere, so they're going to have 2 Lincolns against this duel.
Yeah, it is really good this game.
You have to see a Halberder. Like, what else would you want to buy? You have to itemize for it, like a Force Staff, just something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I also don't know who would be buying it, right? The problem is who can expend the gold for it that will also be in a position to use it. Because Legion Commander needs a BKB. Shadow Fiend needs more damage. And Chaos Knight already bought the lens, so I don't think he wants to go the route of another utility item. So it's kind of... Yeah, I honestly don't know who I would put the item on against those Lincolns, and that just makes it feel so powerful. If we can look from an observing standpoint and feel like all of the choices are weak, then it just makes the purchase incredible.
Very true. Lincoln's applied to JT, who's frontlining in this 5-man smoke for IG. And they're not going to find anybody initially, but will likely get some, I would assume, some wards placed in a good position. And what I assume is incorrect, apparently. Not going to happen, but we have a counter smoke now for Team Spirit. So no, I thought you didn't listen to me. You can't correct me if you don't listen to me either.
What?
Doesn't make sense. Exactly. Okay, so 5-man smoke from Team Spirit. Let's see if they're able to find anything. So Roche not going to be up for a bit, but like we said, Team Spirit definitely have the advantage in terms of killing it fast. And we have both teams posturing on both sides of this cliff. JT. Yep, we have a scan come out, so Spirit are aware of IG's presence close to their triangle.
Yeah. It's a pretty telegraphed move because of the vision that Spirit have themselves, that they're able to make this call. But obviously, you just chill here. Both teams, they know this Roshan is super important. The early spawn has already passed, I believe, right? Yeah, it has by far passed. It could spawn any second now.
That is for certain.
Both teams will be aware of that. So
Mataro continuing to spam one of the best taunts in the game.
I was just going to say,
I made a taunt tier list. This was top 10, I believe. It's quite good. The more it annoys you, the better it is, I think.
Your favorite, your top 5 taunts probably all have sound, right?
Of course. Yeah, they have to. That's a requirement.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah, like Leshrac and Tidehunter and Undying are 3 for sure, Cinderin. No questioning that.
Okay, that is not a subjective opinion.
It's subjective. Gabe told me himself.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Talking about lyrical, not Gabe Newell. So maybe that doesn't have the same.
Radiant's top tower is
not the same weight to it as this tier 1 tower. Taking some massive damage here, but another smoke from Team Spirit. And another taunt from Mataro. Just pumping himself up.
Yeah, Ollie covering this observer. One of these 2 supports is probably going to die here.
Ward is taken out. There's a Chaos Bolt on top of Kaka. We see the Mortimer's Kisses from afar. Looks like it's decimated Kaka. In the meantime, Toronto, Tokyo destroyed. Not even close. When it comes to the position 1 and 2 for Spirit, we just haven't seen anything really come to fruition. Shadow Fiend hasn't had like a really good ult, and CK, I mean, we've talked about the itemization be a little odd, but we really haven't seen him turn into anything yet.
That was just exceptionally dangerous movement from Toronto Tokyo, right? His Shadow Blade was out. He walked in. You got to assume that there's a ward there when you know the Weaver got stunned. Yeah. You don't have Lincoln. You're going to get Blink Doom there 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and knowing that
that's an easy punish for IG.
This is going to be Aegis Shard. They know that obviously Shadowfiend is dead as well as the Snapfire ult being down. It's a pretty big deal in the pit.
The Swarm helping them kill Roche faster.
All right, that's the Lincoln's prop by Emo here. The stomp. Kaka gets off the stomp. Nice BKB by Yatoro. But that means a BKB down for this potential Roche.
And Phantasm is gone now too.
They bought enough time for the SF to be back. But again, he spawns with less souls, so his effectiveness is going to be a little bit lowered as Yatoro potentially looking to try to take this Roche. Aegis and Cheese, or Aegis and Shard, I should say, available for the taking. And IG's just playing it safe here, knowing that they have the advantage. The Impale, Yatoro, there's a press the attack. And into the pit they go. This will be a pretty big turnaround if they're able to get it. Slide and fist from Emo, getting a little bit of vision. And it looks like Team Spirit are just going to get the Aegis and Shard for free. Very surprising as IG just gives it up. Huh?
Thank you, IG.
I guess so.
They did all the hard work.
I'm actually really surprised. I mean, Mortimer's Kisses is like their main defense for the Roche pit, and they still don't have it. It just came up now. Okay. Well, who took the Shard?
Oh, here we go again.
It was Shadowfiend. Are you serious? I've actually never seen this before. All right.
You're audibly triggered.
No, it's not trigger. It's actually excitement.
Oh.
He gains 2 souls per kill with the Shard. And additionally, Shadowfiend can consume 1 soul per attack to deal 190% crit. This one sounds very bad, but I am willing to be convinced otherwise, Synderen. I love Shards, as you know.
Wonder how it works when you use the Necromastery attack out of Silver Edge.
That's, yeah, I question the same thing.
Got hexed.
Yep, he's very fast, though.
Very dead.
Blown up from afar. Kaka gets another stack of finger.
He had a gem.
That would explain it.
That's a pretty big kill. And when I say pretty big, I mean very big.
As we have an Aghanim Scepter now online for Emo. So he's going to be super speedy with all his remnants. This is when I feel like Ember just gets really, especially with Lincolns against his team that we've already discussed, gets really hard to kill.
And he is so good against Chaos Knight right now. Like, all of these remnants, he's probably gonna, he's queuing up the Shard, right? If he finds kills in these fights, can just keep snowballing, has so many remnants, just a passive damage as well on top of CK, all of it. This is gonna add up, compound over the fight. What we're looking at for Doom.
We got the Silver Edge. Let's see if he uses his Shard thingy there.
Oh, they found Ollie.
All right, that's a freebie. Down he goes.
See you later.
So that is dual victory. Well, I don't know how many he's had, but he has 50 damage right now. So you do the math. That's top lane. Whoa! All right. JT taken out by Yataro's Phantasm. It's like Emo's a little late to the party, but that is a really big kill for Team Spirit.
I'm actually surprised Yatoro can kill him like that with this itemization, right? He has the Shadow Blade, Sanjin Yasha. Those are his damage items, and the Doom does have a plate mail, but now it's full Shivas. I don't think he had that when he got jumped. But he can still kill him. That's a good sign for Team Spirit, and probably gives Yatoro some confidence that if he finds any target, he can kill them at this point. Obviously has to play around those Lincolns. It's a bit tricky. You Reality Rift maybe, and then hopefully you can get a Chaos Bolt in before they react.
I mean, the fact that Team Spirit, in terms of their 1s and 2s, are the top 2 net worths right now is insane.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And we've talked about the itemization, and
Dire's bottom tower
maybe it's starting to pay off now, Cinderman. They take out the tier 1 tower bot, as the game in terms of net worth is relatively even right now, as the Aegis still 2 minutes to go, and this is their go time. So smoke on 4, Yatoro. Of course, has the Silver Edge, so it can catch up here pretty shortly. DD spawned bottom.
Oh boy, he's gonna get it.
Yeah, we're gonna see it
Denied
though.
Yeah, right in front of him. He didn't. Wait, what? Okay, I don't know who to trust right now. The game says he denied it, but he has the double damage in the bottle. So who's lying right now?
That's... illusions don't take priority over humans, just like you as a robot don't as well, Synderen.
Wait.
Something for you to learn.
Hello?
Yeah, that is odd.
Did they do it the same server tick? Take and deny.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and trust the bottle right now.
Okay, yeah, I would think so. I mean, what? How could that be wrong? He just pops it and it's just like a puff of smoke, nothing happens.
He pops the bottle and it just says denied.
Like a huge denied symbol above his head. I love that. All right, well, the Aegis is going to expire pretty soon. I'm not sure if they're going to try to poke high ground or if it's a little bit too risky for them. They will take the outpost regardless, and I mean, this is when it gets really scary, when it's about like 30 seconds left and you're starting to poke, because IG obviously know the timing on that as well, and they can truly take advantage, but we'll see. But the DD
hits stupidly hard with the DD though.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the fort. 30 seconds to go. Still has bottle instead of the ultimate orb applied. There's the E-Blade. All right, Toronto Tokyo getting pressed the attack. And fingered as well. They're trying to blow him up. They do. And again, that is just the Aegis.
No fantastic.
They can get him again. Pops the BKB, trying to go for it, but a grip from afar. And there, he is just abandoned by his team as Emo creating all the space in the world on the backside. Yatara forced the BKB TP, so 2 deaths in favor of IG, make it 3, and literally just talked about this. Very risky move, does not pay off for Spirit.
Honestly love that call from IG to kill the Shadow Fiend twice. That's not easy to do, right? A lot of teams, they're like, okay, 20 seconds, guys, just wait it out. They had to get through him twice there, but they know if they don't do it, they lose the lane of barracks. It's just too scary with the double damage and all the attack speed he has, so they commit to kill him twice. Ollie has great positioning on that Fiend script, still didn't have the Aether Lens. He's going to have that next time to make it even easier.
Yeah.
And they knew that Grip was going to go through fully because Weaver doesn't have the Axe yet, and Press the Attack was already used on the first spell wave burst here. You're going to see here uses Press. So now Ollie knows that all he has to do on the second life is to ult, and it will be very safe if he keeps good positioning. See him standing around here in the back.
But you can see on the backside, JT and then Emo eventually, they end up creating a lot of space. That's why nobody was able to help the SF in the end.
Time-lapse, Miposhka.
Oh, Miposhka? Okay, looks like he is... Oh my god, Searing Chain Global!
Oh!
Global!
Wow, are you sure?
Nice.
Did he get double damage while it got denied, and then he got chained and
We're finding out new mechanics every day. That's the beauty of Dota. Today I learned.
We need 240 tick server. Now.
I think you need to talk to the CSGO team about that one, Cinderin. 7K network lead for IG. And things are definitely looking in their favor. But again, this feels a little bit like last game where one mistake from Emo literally cost them the game, at least from our perspective.
Yeah. It's looking like another very solid foundation for a victory here for IG. So I think what they might do this time compared to last game is not take massive risk. I don't know what to say about game states like this with Doom, but I think every game we've cast in the tournament with Doom in this spot, he has won. When the team is ahead minute 35 and Doom starts getting these items, the hero is just insane. And Team Spirit have to find a way to either handle getting doomed or jump him. I don't think that's what makes Doom so crazy late game as a position 3, is when he has these items, he just demands so much attention that your other cores will get to thrive, because you can't pretend he's not there. He is just as much of a carry as the Morpheus right now.
Yeah.
So pretty scary stuff for Team Spirit.
JT on the Doom has a shard as well, by the way. So we'll have the extra damage and stun from the Infernal Blade, as well as the ult. If people are joining us that haven't watched in a long time, like a really long time, Level Death, the ult ability, now built into the shard, essentially.
Every hero has a new item slot called Neutral Item. These drop from jungle creeps and have different tiers based on what the game time is.
That's right.
Also, every hero has a Town Portal scroll slot and a backpack if you didn't play for 6 years.
And in the next patch, a ward slot.
Yep, probably. Or...
Oh, JT is going to pop this small. Nope, not quite in range here. Fly gets off his Manta and is going to be pushing here. So Yataro did finish the Octarine core, by the way. So...
Do you like this build this game? I'm not. I have to say, I'm not completely sold that this was what they needed for it. I completely understand the reasoning and the logic behind it, because you get, I think you primarily get it, not necessarily only for the ulti cooldown, but really getting lower cooldown on Chaos Bolt when you have the shard is really nice, right? But
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure this was what they needed. Maybe they could have had a stronger power spike. Let's say he had an AC, or maybe finished Silver Edge. But this is, of course... Yeah, it's not a super unusual build, but that doesn't mean it's good every game, right?
Yeah. But they are 1,000 away from Ags on Weaver, so that could be a turning point.
Yeah, that's big.
Of course, IG is working with a decent amount of burst damage between the E-Blade and Finger of Death, so might not even have time to use it, honestly. That's the scary part. As into Roche pit they go. So Roche number 3 has the refresher shard this time. And of course the cheese.
Refresher shard. Who would you give it to here?
I wonder. Doom is working on a refresher orb himself.
Okay, they do give it to Doom. I don't think that was necessarily a given. It's insane on Ember.
Yeah, Ember's is crazy. That's true.
You get 5 extra charges on Fire Remnant by having the refresher
Especially
shard,
when you already have Axe. It's insane.
It would have been crazy on either of these two, but they do value the Doom higher.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense in a way, right? You're probably working under the assumption that this Weaver Axe is coming soon. You've seen his inventory for quite a while with that point booster. And having the second Doom will just give you that much more freedom to isolate and kill targets. Even if they do get saved, you can do them again.
Maposhka running into JT potentially.
JT has the gem.
He sure does.
Oof, that was close.
So he's 800 away from that time lapse being able to be used on teammates.
He might actually run into him in the bottom wave if Maposhka tries to go for farm here. He doesn't, though.
Yeah, this is a really scary point for Team Spirit. If they lose the next fight and Aegis is still online for IG, they could potentially go for some sets of racks here.
JT was looking for him there with the Trickster Cloak and Shiva's Guard out on the side, but Maposhka very wisely standing far back to the bottom left.
And JT's almost done with his refresher as well, his actual refresher.
Oh, he could be in trouble here, though.
They're going to try to jump him. JT blink very quick. Oh, the dual catch range, and the right clicks have come, but the save. Nope, not saved enough, sadly, for IG. BKB's pop galore, though. Kaka.
Nice time lapse, too.
Proc is Maposhka trying to get away, but they're going to be able to find one more kill. The buyback onto Doom. And it looks like Yatara will take a tumble, but it did cost Doom his buyback.
Great fight from Spirit. That's basically, if they hadn't lost CK there, that would have been wonderful, but even losing him, they do get the Doom buyback. They found the duel and they found the Lion kill. And the Weaver time-lapse on like 10% health. They got the duel on the absolute edge. I think he actually only reached it because of Psychic Headband. Like, no joke, he needed that too. The cast range there was really, really long.
Psychic Headband plus his talent.
Yeah. He needed it.
That looked really far. I thought he had an Aether Lens when he popped.
Yeah, same. I was like, how did he reach that one? But it was the headband. Now they're going high ground. Yeah. Chaos Knight has buyback. And there is an Aegis here on Fly, as well as the second Doom.
Yeah, Fly taking some massive damage, but like you said, still has the Aegis to work with. He jumps in, gets Cookie, but there's the Doom on top of the SS, but there's the time lapse to try to save him. Of course, that's not going to take off Doom, but he's quite healthy with press the attack. In addition, Fly already expended the Aegis. So showing off that time lapse, Dragon and Scepter as Emo jumps in and finds Toronto Toki. They do have buyback onto the two heroes though. Another Doom was applied to collapse, and he collapses to the ground. 70 seconds on the deck, no buyback to work with. So 5 versus 4 once CK's back online.
And this entire engage, CK not using the buyback, holding on to it. They thought they could defend there with that good time lapse and press the attack, but just got overwhelmed. And remember, no, actually don't remember.
I remember everything. Yatara gonna try to go. They take off the Lincolns. There's the CK Chaos Bolt. You see the illusion come to fruition as well, but Fly just cleans it up easily. More Chaos Bolts to come. I mean, it's pretty annoying to deal with, but it's not really doing that much damage right now. Fly, Manta. And this is looking like a set of racks. I don't think Spirit can fight without Legion right now. No, they're just trying to delay. And IG will be happy with the melee racks.
Yeah, it is starting to get costly for Spirit. Given the circumstances, though, you were fighting into Aegis and Refresher Shard there. Losing half a lane and 1 SF buyback, it could have probably been worse when your CK was dead when the fight even began.
Oh, this is a huge kill for IG. Nobody from Spirit is remotely close, and that's 90 seconds. No buyback. 14K network lead for IG.
Do IG know he doesn't have buyback, though, is the question. Because now it's because of gold. He finished the silver edge up there.
I mean, Fly has his Scotty if he wants to buy it. I mean, he is virtually unkillable right now when that gets delivered. So I feel like they'll be pretty confident to go forward. Ember did actually go for a refresher himself, and JT changed it up after the buyback, went for the Eon Disc instead of refresher himself. So just wants to make sure he lives through the first Doom.
More safety against duel.
Fly onto the high ground we go. Collapse actually jumps in. Look at this damage from the Snapfire. The Grip to try to counteract this, but looks like they're going to be able to find the kill. Fly dies. And in the midst of things, Emo backs away, but there's the buyback now onto the Morphling. They're going to continue on here as Emo able to remnant to safety. Now with Morphling, the cover is there. Buyback onto the Weaver. Now Mira gets blown up, buys back as well. As this is looking like the beginning of the game for one team or the other. So a lot of buyback. I mean, if you get the kill on Fly, that's a huge deal. But they're playing it safe.
They were nice.
So buyback ends up not being great for IG. Very costly. All they get is a range racks out of that. In fact, lose one in turn.
Oh, is this going to be the repeat of the last game now? They have one win condition here, one last move.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're 17k down, but there's that one opening if you kill the right enemy core. Actually, Emo doesn't have buyback either yet. He's 200 gold short. His inventory is really, really valuable, so his buyback is expensive. And Team Spirit are trying to find, but this time around, IG. The call is, all right, guys.
Playing it safe for sure.
Don't make the mistake you did last game. They're all missing.
Yeah. And
just wait.
Fly obviously doesn't have his buyback, so expends the rest of his money on a BKB. So, oh, did he? Okay, he didn't actually finish the Scotty. Right. Okay, so it was never actually delivered. I was surprised that he was able to be bursted down.
Yeah, he turned into Satanic, right?
No, he had the Satanic already.
Wait, so where did
he bought a BKB just now? Because you weren't listening.
BKB buyback.
If you'd like to go back in the VOD and re-watch what I just said.
7.5k gold. That's got to be more than BKB buyback. Did he buy anything extra than that?
I'm sure he bought all the wards for his team that are free.
His buyback was not 3,500. Why are you lying to the viewers? You have nothing to gain.
I didn't lie. I said he bought them for free.
Just trust me.
Okay.
Source, trust me.
It's hard to trust somebody like you. I'll just tell you what.
Oh, nice. I used to have credibility.
That's true. And then you started casting with me. Oh, Fly. All right, turns into CK. It would be interesting for him to get shard on Morphling, so he'd get the CK shard.
All right, Shannon.
If he wants.
I have your answer.
Okay.
With the help of 250,000 people watching on Twitch chat, we have isolated it. It was Boots of Travel.
And BKB.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there you go. So I wasn't lying.
Thank you, Cinderin.
Thank you, chat.
Why are you reading? It's TI main stage, and you're reading Twitch chat. What is wrong with you?
What can I say? I'm a DJ. What do you want to know?
How can you even pay attention?
That's why I can't hear you half the time.
Too busy looking at the kappas and whatnot in chat to hear what your co-caster has to say. You actually disgust me on a level I can't even begin to explain.
Okay, think about wisdom of the crowd, right?
Yeah.
250,000 people. I can sound really smart because I can just steal all their ideas. That's a dead Weaver.
All right, that's one death, and that's no buyback because he just did so not too long ago from Aposhka. And Roche.
What if it was discovered that I don't know anything about Dota, but I just take the smartest idea from chat all the time?
Wow.
What do you think?
Well,
does that sound believable to you?
If it's a lot of people, then you'll usually get the right answer. But if it's like
I guess you need to have a filter. There's a lot of garbage there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot more
Most
garbage.
Most of it is garbage, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Collapse.
That is true.
Ooh, yeah, looking for. I mean, what does he have? Any Lincoln's breakers for him right now? Yeah, still nothing. Looks like he's going. Oh, really? He's queuing up an Octarine core, so going truly ham this time around. I'm actually really surprised they don't want Lincoln's blockers.
20k lead. Roche
20K,
is
but
now.
It's really about the buybacks. If they can just find the kill on the right hero.
And that's why Aegis is so important, right? When you approach the stage of the game and you know buybacks are on cooldown.
All right, Cinderin, it's going to be Aegis, Cheese, Refresher Shard, and Achanim Scepter. Who gets it? Let's see. So Ember already had. He actually ate his Ags already. Doom Ags is for a break mostly, and in duration, I guess. It's kind of met here. Lion, you have 8 charges of Finger of Death.
Wait, what's grip? Am I stupid? What's happening with Roche? Oh, there we are.
Yeah, it's up.
The clock just didn't update. It just kept saying 0 for like 20 seconds until he spawned.
Is there a hero that Morphling wants to turn into on the other team? Or on his team, sorry.
He could turn into Ember, I guess. That's kind of decent. Double slide chains, right?
Yeah.
It's good. It's not Dark Willow, but it's good.
Okay,
this is the moment, though.
Yeah,
we can't theorycraft that. It doesn't matter if this fight breaks out and IG wins. But what if Spirit do?
Motherboard has to time-lapse himself.
Emo?
Remember, he has Aghanim Scepter, so 20-second cooldown on that ult. So we'll be having it for this engagement regardless at some point. And it's all about second Roche.
Yep.
Can Team Spirit
again.
hold on? Will IG extend this to game number 3? It's looking likely, but after last game, I'm not ready to call it one way or the other.
And this is essentially non-commitment, right? Fly can hit this without taking damage because he has 50 armor and lifesteal. So the rest of his team can just wait outside the pit, keep scouting the area, keep poking and prodding. You see Emo just non-stop sliding
now
to
they
try
see
to
it
cancel
with
them
Swarm.
out.
And here comes Mira's ultimate. That means Team Spirit needs to initiate. They're going to go inside the pit. Toronto Tokyo popped the BK, but they're just going for Roshan right now. Who's going to get it? A big impale comes through. Huge Requiem from Toronto Tokyo, but really not that much damage done in the end. Aegis is on for Morphling. He's going to be perfectly fine as there's the Doom. And this looks like the beginning of the end of game number 2 as IG able to hold on as GGs are called. So this time for IG, it goes according to plan, Cinderin.
It does, but they set themselves up for a really hard laning stage. They did, and they recovered from it, and they got into a nice, strong mid-game here, and ultimately just overpowered Team Spirit, outplay them on some of the moves. I think key in this game, especially the I want to say the Emperor's recovery is really what decided so much here, right? Emo was off to a rough start in that mid lane, but comes back, gets the Maelstrom. It helps them so much to have that extra damage and wave clear in the game, and ultimately they do solve this puzzle that was starting to have a lot of pieces after 5 minutes. But
I looked at that fight top where Team Spirit tried to push with the Aegis, and IG masterfully kind of just split the fight into 2. They ended up taking out Toronto Tokyo in their base essentially, and
that was a key moment for sure.
That was the big turnaround for me because that felt like Team Spirit's biggest window for opportunity to actually take the victory themselves. But yeah, this was game number 2, Cinderin, and it's obviously going to go to game 3. That's how a best of 3 works. If you're just joining us, if you've never watched a tournament before, that is how it works indeed.
If they've watched the groups, they might think it was over.
That's true. Those were 2
there.
games. All right, back home you go. 1-1. Thanks. Very nicely done. So we'll be back with game 3 shortly, but first let's see what the panel has to say about this last game.
Thank you very much, Sunspan and Cinderin. All right then. IG leveling things out. So where would you guys like to start? Do you want to start with the draft? Do you want to start with all the Roche fights? I'm giving you an option here. This is the most democratic it's going to get on this desk.
I like what happened in the game itself. I think
in the game itself, brilliant. So we're going completely wide.
Yeah, do I get to start, or do you want to ask a question about, is this like a multi-choice
Well, I just like the fact that you said we'll start with the game. That
I mean,
not
like,
very specific. All right.
We can talk about the draft in the context of what happened in the game. How about that? I think Team Spirit obviously had a great laning stage. They had really nice momentum in the mid game, but like as it got later, the duel seemed like that was their way to start fights, and it just became harder and harder for them to do that against IG. They had Lincoln Spheres, they had saves with Bane. Doom started to land some really nice Dooms. He got 2 Dooms. It just like made it a lot harder as the game continued.
I like that IG drafted for the game rather than the lanes. I think often we've seen teams prioritize the lanes too heavily, but they recognize this Ember is going to give them this big playmaker. Yeah, it has a rough lane mid against SF, but it's the right hero for how they win the game. Same with the Bane pick. It is a good laner, but it was the perfect hero against that Legion commander.
Do you agree, Trent?
Yeah.
The draft from Spirit was too focused on laning?
I mean, it was a little bit out there in a couple directions, right? I mean, the Chaos Knight coming out was a little bit of a surprise, but it almost felt like the more kills they got in the lane, the more I just got worried that it wasn't going to come home for them. I felt like, I don't know, it felt like they were getting like too eager, too excited. I kept seeing like this bloodthirsty, like kill, 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 and then like what's the grand picture? And filling out those final little blocks in their plan obviously became a problem.
Can we talk about this Chaos Knight pick? Because it seems like there's a little bit of snobbery out there towards dear old CK. And I really want you guys to talk me through why, because, you know, there are people watching TI who probably haven't played Chaos Knight and definitely haven't seen him being played in a pro match. So Gods, we'll start with you.
To me, the hero, the biggest issue with the hero is the fact it's an illusion hero. Your illusions, when they're getting controlled or cleared by AoE damage, you're not doing damage. That's where you're, like as a CK in a team fight, you need to jump that hero with your Eldritch, burst them down. And against a hero like Lion, that can get hard, even though you're not instantly killing the illusions. You've got the AoE control, so it just felt like he couldn't carry the same way or do the same damage like a Sven could, for example.
Yeah, he's hard to initiate with because you have to ulti first, then you have to get in reality refrained. Usually you have to buy a blink for that. So it's like you have to plan ahead for the fight to start for like 2 seconds, and that's a giant window for pro players. Like you do not, like they're going to see you coming doing this. I would criticize his item build personally. I think Midas is a bit of a trap on the hero. It gives you a lot of attack speed, doesn't give you much damage. And yeah, like you might have some net worth farming issues on the hero, but it's like the goal on CK where you're most effective is where you win the lane, which he's good at. He's good at winning the lane. Then you like use that big net worth advantage to like be oppressive on the map. And they didn't really do that too well. He got picked off a couple times. Then he started buying Aether Lens and Octarine. It's like it kind of helps the poke easier, but I almost wonder if he just bought like raw damage items, if he would have been stronger in the mid game, and that might have washed them over into late game better.
How did you feel about the combination with Toronto, Tokyo, Shadow Fiend, Trent?
Sort of similar, I guess, in terms of like maybe not the most popular hero we've seen, but also requires a lot of setup, I would guess, because like you can break up a fight as Shadow Fiend. That's great. You can get this like big fear off. Maybe you can chase down everything, but much like CK, you prefer for things to be a bit set up for you as you're coming into the engagement. And they only really had the duel, and we already know that IG had great ways to sort of like peel off or just like disengage from you. So this problem started occurring where like Team Spirit wanted to fight, and IG were just like, let's pull this back a little bit, and we'll fight on our own terms a little bit better.
Gods, do you like numbers?
Absolutely.
Well, you're in luck, my friend. You're prepared to be satisfied because we're going to take a look at the key stats from that match. And as you can see, with the Toro definitely not having the impact that we would expect from him. How did Morphling's Fly-Fi compare to Yatoro's take on Morphling? Gods.
I think overall it was kind of similar. I think he took less risk, but that's also a team thing when it comes to IG. Whereas I think Yatoro was, going for that, playing from behind, felt like he had to go for that big game-winning play. I think IG were letting Emo be the one going first, and I think for Fly, he had a much easier game because he had a lot of heroes to initiate for him. It's very hard to play Morphling when you have to start the fight going first or second, but this game, JT, Emo, both his 2 other core heroes can go in. Even Kaka, to a certain extent on the line's able to set things up for Fly to have an easy time.
And he got to go E-Blade as well, which made it easier to do these like poke fights where he could just blast somebody for a bunch of damage, and all of a sudden Team Spirit had to react. Like that's how Team Spirit lost their top racks advantage, because it was easy to kill Shadow Fiend the first time. So that item pivot was well identified by Fly.
Yeah, and then you have like JT able to do such a good job this game because he's playing the Doom. So you get tons of gold on this hero as an offlaner. He almost doubled up on Collapse by the end of that game. Just gives you more options, more choices, and also he just played like an absolute beast on those initiations.
Literally every single person in this studio watching that game was so into JT's Doom. What is it about Doom that makes him such a special pick and such a deadly one?
It's very satisfying. You have so much control in the game, really. One of the most controlling heroes is an offlaner in the simple sense that your team can identify, particularly in Pro Dota, right? Pubs are a little more chaotic than everything. But Pro Dota, it's like, okay, we have a condition. We need to kill this guy. All right, how do we kill this guy? Well, he's got a Linkens. All right, well, someone deal with that. I will blink in. I will doom him. Fight's just one. Then, you just charge after them in the chase down.
Yeah. I would also add, I feel like this patch right now, timings are so important, and Doom, you hit this timing really early on with Blink BKB, and nobody has any answer to that. The enemy carry, you beat BKBs with physical damage, and you get it so early that those carries don't normally have the items to actually burst through a BKB. So BKB Blink Doom in the mid game is just like the king of any team fight.
Oh, talking of team fights, should we talk about Roshan? And Spirit's approach to Roshan, because the second Roche fight that we saw, it looked like it was IG's to win. And then the disrespect from Spirit, it seems like to be now the signature move of Spirit is exemplified by that second Roche fight. There is absolutely no respect being shown to the opponents of Team Spirit, is there?
Yeah, Team Spirit did a good job in that sense. Like, they were willing to go in Roche, and that's the reason they won the first game as well. They were willing to go do something, force a fight, basically. I think some of that is also partially IG's heroes. If their support duos like Line and Bane, they have to kind of sit back. They didn't have, like, big, overwhelming team fight like you maybe expect a Ravage or, like, a Mars ulti. So it's, like, pretty easy for them to just put all their minus armor heroes in the pit and just, like, hit it really fast. And, like, if they grab the Aegis in that last fight, maybe it's a different outcome, but they didn't get it in that last fight. But it did work earlier, so it's good to see them taking those risks.
I think it was smart of IG to back off there. As much as it looked like they gave them a free Roche, they don't have any vision scouting heroes, and there was this Snapfire just sitting on the other side of the pit getting ready to kind of make that jump in a Roche. And if they get caught in the pit, that's how they lose the game. So while it was bad they gave Spirit for Roche, it was the safe play.
And then in the final Roche fight, it was Spirit getting caught in the pit when they tried to engage. Do you think the reason they engaged was because they didn't have any other choice, Trent?
Yeah, for sure. It's just, again, they're gambling, right? They've been gambling, they've been winning, for sure. Especially game 1, even parts of game 2. Finally, they lost, but it's like they knew they have to do that, right? It's your only chance to win the game.
So now it's level. How are we feeling about this third and final game? Do we think IG are now firmly feeling comfortable? They've put the boys from Eastern Europe in their place, and now they're ready to dominate?
I would say yes, because this is like one of those series where you can look at multiple games and you're like, oh, IG played better in all 3. Like with the exception of the laning stage in the previous match, IG consistently seemed like the better team. So I think they should feel confident going into game 3. Maybe Team Spirit just has to be slightly more careful with how they win their match, but I think they'll have a good shot.
Gods?
I'm in the IG camp, but I think Spirit have definitely impressed me. I came in thinking IG were going to have a 2-0, but even that game, we saw something different from Spirit. I thought they were going to be this team that stuck with, picking the same off lane as the Tide, the Mars, and picking the same mid lane as they've been doing, but they really went a different direction with that draft. So to me, there's at least some potential for an upset in game 3.
We need a strong talking to for Team Spirit, right? We got to get to Maposhka. I think Maposhka played very well both games. Unfortunately, had some issues dying a bit in the late game 2. But again, risk. He's going deep with the gem and stuff. But I feel like he's got to kind of bring them together, discuss like the plan, get everyone on the same page, and they can definitely do this. They've bounced back, right? They have experience doing that in the group stage, which is a huge thing to have at this point. But there's no doubt that IG are just straight up looking better.
The Weaver pick then that we saw on Maposhka. We're seeing Weaver being played everywhere, but currently at TI, at least in the group stage, it seemed like he was mostly being played position 1. So I'm curious, do you think that actually the intent was always playing position 5 in that match?
Definitely not. No, that's, as you said, that's the whole point, right? We want that flexibility to be there. So 5 is probably the least likely one that you're going to get, but when you can get that Aghanim Scepter, you saw the big save plays coming out there.
All right then, here we go. The teams are coming out. This is it. Whoever wins this remains in the upper bracket. The other team will be sent down to the lower bracket and will be fighting for their survival. But what are we going to see from these teams? Are we going to see Spirit being a little bit more careful, bringing back some of that control they have been said to have in the past? And IG just going to maybe even take a leaf out of Spirit's book and go flashy and firm and say, nope, we're still the top seed in this tournament.
I expect IG to do the same thing. I think what I'd like to see Spirit pivot with is put Collapse on like a more traditional teamfight hero. Legion has this like initiator or defensive playstyle. You either save one of your allies that gets gone on, or you have to like blink duel a guy. And that is part of the reason that he got doubled up on net worth by JT, because Doom continues hitting creeps. If you're playing Legion Commander, it's not really the same. If you show anywhere hitting on a creep wave, then they know you're not about to duel you on the map. So I think a more traditional hero would allow him to play to his strengths a bit better.
I think they could also maybe consider some of these hard lockdown heroes. Yeah, they had the Jewel, but neither of their supports had like reliable hard lockdown, which is what Kaka, every single game you're going to see Kaka online. I think they either need to ban the line or take it for themselves, or take something similar with like an instant stun, because when they don't have that instant hard disable, Emo has such an easy game. He's playing an Ember Spirit, he died once the entire game, and it's because of the heroes that Spirit have.
Who are you banning if you're Team Spirit?
I mean, I say Lion. I actually completely agree. I feel like other teams went to that in their first phase, and I think Kaka's just way too comfortable, and it gives him so many options as fights start.
You know what? If you have just tuned in, we do want to remind you of something that happened in the first game of TI-10. And it involved Yatoro, a Morphling, and a Rampage. So to make things official, obviously, we need a little flashy graphic. So switching from Yatoro's pink hair to a reminder of who else has achieved this feat. I imagine you remember every single one of these Rampages, Gods. Not because you're old, just because you've done a lot of TIs, okay?
I want match IDs, Gods. Game time.
Honestly, no, sorry.
Okay, does anyone remember these?
Yes.
Also, just looking, we 3 of these players obviously are here at TI-10, right? We've obviously got Topson, memorably, versus Liquid. Arme is now, well, still playing for PSG LGG. It's the poster boy for that team. It will be playing tomorrow in the upper bracket. Do you think we're going to see even more Rampages, Purge?
I mean, the fact that this is the only 5 at TI is like mind-blowing to me. When somebody said that stat earlier, oh, that was the 5th Rampage ever on main stage TI, I could not believe it. But maybe some of it is that like teams are like ready to GG. They don't, I don't know, it's like maybe the games are like cleaner. There's like less messing around or something, but I'm surprised. Will we see another one? Yeah, probably. Maybe one more.
Yeah.
Another one from Topson maybe later on today?
Less likely than Sumail. I think Sumail's a better chance, like 2-to-1 chance that he gets it over Topson.
So he has more Aegises than Rampages at TI. That's
true.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
true.
for Yatore's in good company. 3 of those players are TI winners, so, you know, not saying he's going to win TI, but at least you're in a group of 5 players who are some of the best who's played at TI.
Who would you like to see Yatoro play in this Burden final game?
Terrorblade if it's there, but I don't think it's going to be there.
Yeah, I think it's very draft dependent. I don't think there's like a you want him on this hero because he's played 12 heroes in the group stage, so he is very flexible. And I think the carry pick and carry role, you have to be able to react and wait till you see what comes in the draft to see what fits the game. So I don't think there's like a you want to see him on this hero kind of factor for Spirit.
And what about Collapse? Because it does seem like the synergy between their position 1 and position 3 is crucial. I mean, that's the same for all of Dota. It's a team game, isn't it? But given that we're probably not going to get to see him play Mars, who would you like to see him play, Poach?
Tide is easily his number 2. He played very well in the group stage on it. Teamfight ulti can farm aggressively. Maybe something a little bit out of left field. Your Timbersaw type of heroes, I could see him doing well in that. May not fit the draft or the meta, but something like that. Something that can be high action. He can push his limits. He's a very talented player. I think he can fight against the best, and so give him something like that.
Yeah, I think even though they lost game 2, I don't want them to abandon this idea of just like aggression. And I feel like Tide, obviously Tide is very good, and they had a massive success streak at the end of the group stage using the Tide Hunter. But I kind of want them to like hold on to this idea of just like the confidence they seem to have in this game and try and go for like that Night Stalker. I feel like that could really suit how well they're playing right now, kind of make up for some of the issues they're having in terms of like the vision game, and really give you like full playmaking opportunities throughout the entire match.
Why? Why does it suit the play style that you want to see them play?
Because, you know, you gotta throw off these better teams a little bit. You gotta be willing to push things when perhaps they're not expecting it. I think that's why they're finding some success, why this isn't just a 2-0 wash right now. And Tide Hunter, it's much easier to punish because you have this massive long cooldown to deal with. Night Stalker has its own issues because of like the day and the night cycle, but it is still a little bit easier to work with, I would say.
Do you agree, Gods?
Yeah, and I would add on to that, like the majority of the time I feel like when underdog teams cause upsets, it's because they play super aggressive. Very rarely do you see an underdog team win a series against, you know, a more experienced or a stronger team on paper by playing passive, by playing safe and trying to play late game Dota.
Yeah.
All right. Purge.
Yeah, that's
totally
exactly
agree.
true. Like, because if you play like passively, they're going to get in their comfort zones, going to do the things they're used to. If you put them on the back foot, you get aggressive. Even if some of your goes are kind of weak, I really agree with what you said about vision. You need vision to make some of those aggressive dives, because some of the times those plays you're doing that are aggressive all the time, you're not going to see the hero sitting behind them. So some of the times they will be sitting with 4-man. They're going to turn on you when you do go on them. So having extra vision from a Night Stalker would be a great way to give them the ability to make better decisions.
And given that Spirit were able to dominate the laning phase in that last game but still lose the game itself, do you think that we're going to see them maybe have a slightly different focus in their draft that's shortly coming up?
Is IG's focus going to be different as a result of the last one? It's hard
I think
to say.
Spirits.
Spirits? I just think the offlane is the thing they might want to swap. I love that they went for the Legion. It sort of almost worked. Maybe do it again if there's not a Bane in the game. But other than that, I'd like to see them pivot back to more typical initiating teamfight sort of hero on Collapse, so they can be aggressive and scale a little bit better.
Do you want to see Night Stalker?
Night Stalker, I think, has good potential, yeah. Generally, he plays more like stun-type heroes for Lockdown, but because Night Stalker requires a little bit more coordination. Like, he'll jump in and disrupt enemy teamfights, certainly, but he doesn't really, like, set up your team. It's more like lock out the supports from the fight while your team gets the rest of them, and that maybe isn't quite what he typically does in a game. But it could work.
Is it bad for me to say that I want to see Underlord, and I know we're not going to? But I'm holding out for some point in the
necessarily
main
true.
stage.
He's
Really?
got some tools.
You're
Yes,
so
every
nice to
hero
me.
in Dota is broken in some way, even the ones that we haven't picked yet. All right.
That I'm always attracted to the broken ones. That's what it is, boys. You know what? We're just about ready to get into the draft. Who is going to take this series? Let's soon find out.
Team Spirit versus Invictus Gaming. Game 3.
And welcome back to the draft panel. As we're getting ready for this third draft, I'm going to ask my wonderful co-panelists what we should be looking out for in Sania. I think
Invictus Gaming's turn to ban.
A game of the tournament, you're playing IG versus Team Spirit. They both had a chance to feel each other out, so it might be open here. I think could be an interesting hero.
Morphling will definitely be contested in this one, and there's a reason why this hero is the 5th most banned hero. We see Tidehunter, he's just gone. Like, no one wants to play against him, especially if the enemy has the first pick, so no surprise there.
And the IO as well this time.
Yeah, I think IG, what they learned in the games is that the Elder Titan from Team Spirit was not that strong. It wasn't like the best hero of the tournament. You know, it's been really highly contested and first picked a lot, and I think they're willing to give it away in this position. That's why it's not banned in this game, and they think they can beat it. So if for whatever reason Team Spirit also feels the same way, they might leave the ET for...
Yeah, I want to see if this is a core Tiny. I think Timbersaw is probably the best counter as the laning stage goes, because you're setting yourself up for a really good game. Tiny does not have enough burst damage, no matter what you pair him up with. He just cannot kill Timbersaw, and then you're forcing Team Spirit to possibly play him as a position 4 role, which they don't, but they play it on the mid.
Yeah, and you were pointing this out, that they actually play much more in the mid than the carry position. Would you still like the Timbersaw as the offlaner?
Now that they have Mars, I don't. Yeah, it's not an option anymore. Even though I believe there was Thunder Predator who ran a position 5 Mars.
They did. This is the Mars Phoenix combo, which is interesting because actually that's one of the favorite combos of the Eastern European region. But it's going to be IG running it. We haven't seen much success with this combo in this tournament yet.
Okay, I would imagine it's a fairly good opener against Tiny, because the reduced attack speed is one of Tiny's biggest issues, right? This hero hits super slowly.
Yes.
Anyone that has played Tiny knows what it feels like. So you're not touching the egg, and you're getting Fire Spirit on top of that. And then as a third added bonus, Tiny's very tanky, and he has a lot of armor. Phoenix is dealing Sunray damage, which is percentage based. So Phoenix is one of the heroes that probably hurts Tiny the most. And Snapfire is a good response from Team Spirit. This basically increases the execution for IG. This Mars is going to have to really be on top of his arenas to protect the egg, or that egg isn't going off. Another thing that's important to note is Ollie is a very, very good Phoenix player, so I think that they also got that going for themselves.
Even Kaka plays it actually. Previous teams used to play it a lot as well. So they can actually flex that from 5 to 4.
Yeah.
What do you think of this Snapfire Tiny combination to start off with? Especially with the Tiny mid, I guess you have some nice burst, right?
We still don't know where the Tiny is going to go, but it seems like a very strong opener. You have a lot of boxes checked with just these 2 heroes. You always have like a repositioning tool on your allies, on the opponents as well. And Snapfire will Shredder kills egg level 1, so you got to be really careful until you hit that level 12.
There's the Morphling ban that we have been speaking about, just a highly contested hero. And actually, interestingly enough, IG gets rid of that Legion Commander. Do you think the performance last game was enough to justify it, or is it just because the Phoenix this time?
5 seconds remaining.
It's a pretty good, we call them steroids, like basically spells that amp up your cores to deal more damage.
Yeah, buffers.
Buffers, exactly. A pretty good buffer for the Tiny. And the Purge and the added save and stuff like that's always very nice. So I think it's just an overall, it's mostly about the Purge ability against the Phoenix and the BKB ability to tank the Sunray.
Yeah, and the attack speed, of course, against Eggle is going to be great. Monkey King, I definitely didn't think coming into this series that Monkey will be either picked or survive through the first pick phase.
I think Spirit's just afraid of it to disrupt their laning phase. I think after game 1, they realized that they can't just let IG dominate the pace of the game. Even though they won that game, I think they felt it too. Like we saw it was a very clutch win, and you don't want to be in that position where you got to clutch it out like that every single game.
So what is it in game 2? So in game 2, they did fix that pace, right?
Right.
What was it about the draft you thought was lacking maybe in game 2?
I think they had the idea of like we need to have more pace, but I feel like the heroes that they picked were a little bit outdated, or like they don't really make sense to me. Like the Chaos Knight, I think in concept is a good idea. It does very well in its lane, and then you have these illusions that are going to fight for you. You don't really have to commit into the Doom, but I just feel like the hero's power level is too weak.
Yeah, they overdid it. Having both Shadow Fiend and CK in that game was a bit too much. Shadow Fiend was static in the mid game. You can't really make that many moves, especially with the build. There was no Shadow Blade early on, and that one dodge from Morphling with the waveform, that was top notch, or top luck skill, whatever you want to call it, because there was no Sentry Wards.
Yeah. So Team Spirit once again banned out the Lina. That makes me just immediately think of Leshrac. I think if you want to pick Lesh though, you're most likely going to play with some sort of save, some sort of support that can keep your Leshrac alive.
So you're talking about how this is the Chinese mentality, that like you ban Lina, you pick Lesh. You think Spirit has adapted to that mentality now?
I think it's more, IG are definitely considering Leshrac as an option now that Lina's out of the pool. So this is something that you can do sometimes where the opponents ban certain heroes for you, and that basically gives you another ban. So let's say I'm in IG's position, I see them banning Lina, I'm like, Leshrac has 2 counters. Lina and whatever other hero they consider to be good against it. Like Invoker, for example, that was played against Lesh in the first game. Now you've opened up the door to potentially drafting Leshrac here. Whereas when both Lina and Invoker are open, that's not really a hero that you're considering.
Okay. And do you see this draft initial as a pretty decent Leshrac draft to play in?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good Lesh game.
Okay.
You have the backup of Phoenix and Mars.
Natural BKB buyer. I mean, you can go it as your second item, and then you don't care too much about Phoenix nor the Mars spells. Something that they played against Fnatic was ET and Tiny. ET is still available for Team Spirit if they want to go that combo, removing the basic magic resistance. As you said, the ET didn't look that great in the first game when they played it, but still feels really good to have another way of stopping a team fight.
So the benefits is like, I think Mira played the ET, and he traditionally plays more of those range type of position for heroes, and I would expect him to be on the Snapfire here. So Miposhka is more of that laning dominating type player. That's the type of hero he likes. So seeing him on the ET wouldn't be too surprising, though I do think the Phoenix is one of the better heroes at dealing with it, because you just slow down the attack speed so much, and he can't really fight.
I like your point, because Miposhka back in the day was the biggest enchanter spammer I've ever seen. He used to just run that hero every single time. Yeah. What other heroes can we see that are lane dominators that you'd think would fit into his hero pool? Come to mind.
I mean, Bane was one of the ones I was thinking about, but many of the traditional like position 5s for CIS,
like Disruptor,
sorry, the Eastern European, Disruptor, absolutely. It doesn't really fit the game here, I would say.
Okay.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm not actually sure. I think it might just be the Snapfire 5 to match it up into the Phoenix.
Or they could just swap the lanes and play Snapfire position 5 from the safe lane, and match it up against Phoenix potentially.
We've seen Bane now multiple times actually by IG. I feel like it's been picked every game. What do you see the strength of this pick here?
I feel the hero is just not picked enough. I expected this hero to be like super highly contested in the group stage, picked or banned every single time. He is the lane dominator. You have this small budget save built in, and also BKB piercing ability. You don't necessarily need to get a 5-second duration grip, sometimes a second or a 2 during the BKB, as we've seen in the game number 1, was pretty clutch. So yeah, the positioning is key. I think he's very similar to Oracle in terms of positioning, where you make like 200 range ahead and then you straight up die.
Oh, interesting. There's a lane dominator that we haven't seen in a long time, which is the CM, and a classic combo with the Juggernaut. Is this a pocket strat we might be seeing here?
I think it's a response to the Phoenix Mars. I was thinking personally, PL I know is one of Yatoro's better heroes. I was considering the PL when I saw the Bane. But they go with the Juggernaut. It's great against the Mars and Phoenix in lane. Now they have kill potential during the level 1. I think especially level 1 Phoenix now needs to be extremely careful, because you have the Nova into the spin, and you can zone them out. And Crystal Maiden overall fits pretty well with the other heroes. And I know AUI thinks this hero is very, very strong right now, so he was surprised we haven't seen it more.
Are you afraid at all of the Fiend scripting the Juggernaut while he's spinning and stopping him completely?
It's one of the threats that they need to consider, but I think with how Juggernaut usually plays nowadays, you have both the Ags and you have the Omni Slash to get around, and you have the Healing Ward, right? So if the Healing Ward's alive and you get Fiend Script, you're most likely going to be able to tank through it.
Here we see Storm. That was a pick that actually banned as respect ban multiple times for Emo. You tell me a bit about the strength about Emo and his hero Lacoste.
Yeah, Emo's Storm Spirit is legendary pretty much. You know, he like comparing him to some other Storm Spirit players, I think the farming patterns in general for Storm Spirits got better. We see this like newer type of a build with the Soul Ring as well, where you like farm the small camp. It's very important to try to block it, and then you pick up the 3-minute rune, come back, kill the small camp again, come to your lane. Storm Spirit comes online very quickly. There are not too many counters in this game. There is a bite coming out from the Crystal Maiden. For the rest, he should be okay if he has enough mana to try to dodge the other spells, and Juggernaut doesn't feel comfortable playing into Storm Spirit.
Are you still seeing this as Tiny mid right now, or do you think it's still an open flex?
I think there's potential to run the Snapfire 3 and Tiny 4.
Oh.
It doesn't really strike me as something that I would imagine Team Spirit does very often, but it could be a good way to answer like the problems of laning against Bane, because you get a much stronger hero in the lane there.
Could you Tiny 3 here, potentially?
Yeah, you could. I think you could Tiny 3, but I think against Bane a lot of the time, like, I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, you could. I don't dislike it. The more I think about it, it just feels a bit weird in the current meta of like how Tiny's build with the item build that Tiny likes to go for.
Because Collapse has done it in the past, like Tiny 3.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
And you have mana, that's what's important. Tiny consumes a lot of mana when he's played either as a position 4 or a position 3, and this time around you have Crystal Maiden, so that's going to help out quite a lot.
Yeah.
You banned out. That's a Night Stalker, isn't it?
Yeah, IG thinks that it's going to be position 4 Tiny, banning out Night Stalker and Lycan.
Or a 2 Tiny, right? And they're banning partners.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could be either.
Exactly. What heroes would you were talking about the bans that they got to protect Leshrac, but it also protects the Storm in the same way. Is there any other hero you're thinking about right now? Like, okay, let's get rid of that in case they, or that you think would be really good against the Storm?
A lot of, like, Virtus Pro, when they play Storm Spirit, Queen of Pain is the one band that they get rid of, Puck is the other one, and Lina. Like, these are the bands that they protect the Storm Spirit pick with. Okay. So, yeah, Team Spirit, the leash mechanic. I don't think I've seen a single game from the games that have been casted throughout the group stage. Puck was not picked at all. It was banned out, always against the Storm Spirit, but never picked.
I actually saw this matchup quite a few times, and I think while the Puck is good with the Green Coil, now with how Sums can buy Kaya Sanj and Bloodstone, they have a way to really survive through it. They can tank through it, and I think between the Nightmare Sleep and the Phoenix heals, it might be enough to keep the Storm alive. But other than that, there's no stunts on Spirit. It's very hard for Spirit to kill the Puck. They did buff the Bane Fiend script cast time.
Oh, for IG.
For IG, sorry, yeah. Killing the Puck for IG is going to be difficult in this game.
Okay.
And I think like now, it's really up to the Bane, right? You got to grip either the Puck or the Juggernaut. So I think that might be something that's tricky for them. Spectre Storm is a very, very strong combo. So Storm Spirit, generally speaking, wants to find the right target and jump them. So one of the hardest things of your game is you need to have vision of the backlines. But with Spectre, it's very easy. You press one button and your Storm sees everything. And he can jump safely knowing that there's no heroes close by, or you can choose the target that he wants to go on. So really like this pick.
So that's the strength of IG's draft. Right? I have to summarize that draft.
I think their team fight is going to be very, very strong. And look for Emo to make some aggressive jumps off of Haunt initiations.
What about IG? For Team Spirit, sorry.
Team Spirit, this is going to be a position 3 Tiny, which can scale. As you mentioned, there are no real stun silences for Puck, so that's going to be a bit problematic for Invictus Gaming. And Toronto, Tokyo, especially with the help from Crystal Maiden, could completely pop off on this Puck.
10 seconds
well, before we get into the game, we got to hear the last word from BSJ, so he can guide us as to what we should be looking for in this game number 3 between Team Spirit and IG.
Wow, holy Jesus, that was quite the crowd noise. BSJ, very well improved. Good job, my friend. One of the best segues I've heard in quite some time. Suns fan here with Cinnamon.
I have never been cheered for so loud in my entire life.
I think that was a sarcastic cheer, if I had to guess. I'm not sure if the spectators got to hear the same thing as us.
Wow. That was very loud.
But we do have game 3, Cinnamon, between IG and Team Spirit. First game I've gotten to cast the new, if you want to call it special, I'm hoping for some time now. Your thoughts on this game number 3?
Yeah, I think the way BSJ broke it down is actually, he just hit the nail on the head about what's going to happen in this game. It's an assassination game, and these games are super fun to watch because they're so explosive. There's like two, like he put it, there's 2 assassins on either team, right? Puck Tiny versus Spectre Storm, and that to me indicates that this could indeed be a game where you see that newer new meta Spectre build where you go for an earlier Aghanims. I think sometimes we see them go Echo Saber first into it. I believe I have even seen Tread's Ags straight away, but it does feel like the build of items is probably worth it. Yeah, Falcon Blade is also part of the build. I think it's going to be Tread's Falcon Axe, to be honest, but could opt for the Echo Saber if he sees value in it here. We're going to see. A little bit of a fight potentially breaking out.
Yeah, a rebuke from Toronto Tokyo. A nice spin with the cookie setup. JT trying to get saved with a Nightmare, but this looks to be first blood going the way of Team Spirit.
Fascinating substance.
Let's see if they can secure the bounty runes as well, although I don't think they're going to stick around that triangle in all likelihood. Maybe just leave Motherboard there for now. Of course, you can see they do have the ward, giving them good vision here. Another illusory orb just scouting things out. So very early aggression. BSJ just talked about it, that a lot of low cooldowns for Team Spirit versus the long ones from IG.
Yeah.
And for sure, it's all about execution, which IG, during this tournament, have had some of the best execution of anything. I mean, they were top of their groups, along with LGD in the opposing one, and that's why they're favored in this match. But yep, they have been extended to a Game 3 here by Team Spirit.
I feel like when I look at the Spirit lineup, it reminds me a little bit of some strategies that Virtus Pro have run in the past with success, where they have this Juggernaut carry and they just play around hyper early aggression with all of these heroes that really thrive, and then you try to get the first Roshan, and then you look to maybe even go high ground. I don't know if that's going to work out with an offlane Tiny in particular. A lot of the times those Juggernaut strategies will be coupled with something like a Dragon Knight or a Lone Druid or whatever, you know, that wants to hit towers, or even Pugna in some cases. So I think maybe that's what IG's read was in getting these greedier late game heroes, is that, well, even if Spirit do well early on, we think we can bridge the gap to a late game and then ultimately just overpower them with, you know, arguably by many considered the single best late game support in the whole game, Phoenix, played by Kaka position 4. And then you have Storm Spec going late. You've got to feel pretty confident if you don't get crushed in the first 20 minutes here, right?
Yeah, I mean, this has kind of been the wombo combo, if you want to call it that, for this last year, is the Mars Arena giving, you know, especially without the BKBs coming online, enough space for that egg to actually go off, and then eventually you probably will see Storm Ags in combination with that. They just have a lot of spells that work in tandem together. And then obviously Bane has been picked literally every game this series, and I was not expecting that, not gonna lie.
And it won every game so far. So
indeed,
according to statistics, it's in the bag for IG.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, if there's one thing Dota loves, it's in the bag. Literally every hero has a voice line for predicting victory.
Skyrath has 10 that they forgot to actually split up into separate ones, and it's now just one elongated.
Whoa, how is Emo destroying mid this hard? I just realized.
We're watching Kaka get slowly chased down by Motherboard. Oh. This is one of the longest chases of all time. He has 5 mangoes.
Possibly
another
dying.
Frostbite to come.
Yep.
And there we go. Another kill going the way of Team Spirit. So yeah, mid lane 17-1 to 10-0.
This is not that Storm favorite of the lane. Emo's just outplaying here. Toronto Tokyo by a decent amount in the first few waves. Good news if you're an IG fan. Getting Emo off to a good start. We've covered this in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and
he is exceptionally good on Storm. But like we talked again previously, he has also had a couple of like slightly, I don't know if you want to call them facepalm moments during, I think it was one of our games we cast where Emo just went way too crazy on Storm. I think they ended up winning anyway. But he is prone to a little bit of over-aggression at times, bottom lane. Decent damage onto JT. We'll reset away.
Just going to get salved and we'll be good to go. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, just kind of overconfidence from Emo at times, but I mean, talking about puck though, Toronto Tokyo's puck is really freaking good. We've cast a lot of his games, and some of them were pre-nerf, right? He's been nerfed since then, so
that's true.
A lot of games we've been seeing, you know, some mid laners partake in some puck and they haven't looked so good. So interested to see if Toronto Tokyo does. But we saw it game 1 where he was split pushing with Invoker. He does a lot of that with puck, especially if he's behind. So we'll see.
Kind of a dangerous split push game though against Spectre Storm Bane. It's not going to be easy.
That's true.
This time around to do that. One of the big upsides to Bane that I think is underappreciated maybe sometimes. Everyone is very much focused around the, you know, the laning. Oh, hang on, he might actually die here.
Avatar set up with the cookie, and down goes Ollie. Scatterblast was enough.
Ironically, one of the things people consider so strong about Bane is the laning, as he just got crushed from full HP there. He's facing a really, really powerful lane here, with Snapfire being one of the worst matchups the hero has, in my opinion, in lane. But yeah, what Bane usually brings to the table, it's the pseudo-save of Nightmare, it's the grip, but also just the ability to, because you don't have the ability to wave clear, you never really need to show mid-late game at all. Like, you can sit in a tree line and wait for someone to go for the play we just talked about, where Puck starts cutting waves, and then find a good pick that way.
Now looking at Fly CS right now, he is sitting on 18-2 versus the 21-6 Juggernaut, so relatively even across the position ones at least. But mid lane still being dominated right now by Emo. A 10 CS lead at 4.5 minutes is...
That's substantial.
It is. Toronto Tokyo is still getting pretty good farm. Like, this is probably normal farm. It's just Emo's getting literally every last hit, it feels like.
Toronto Tokyo is still ahead on net worth, but that's because he got first blood.
Yeah,
so
true.
Obviously, even with first blood in this mid lane, he was still... I don't know if I want to call it losing to Emo here, but Emo is definitely still having a great time. So, very well done by him.
Now we're going to see another Ava into the toss, back into Mira. Cookie does not connect.
Not a good Cookie,
and
unfortunately.
Mira will fall as a result of this. Ollie takes a little residual damage from Collapse in the meantime, but they'll have to just cut their losses.
Axe observes carnage underway at Radiant's top tower.
At bot lane now is JT. Had himself a pretty good series so far. Had a really good group stage, I have to say. Is there's going to be the first coil of the game. It's going to be broken immediately into the waning rift. Illusory orb.
Oh, it feels real bad if he doesn't get the kill here.
Fine, just barely.
Oh, it's one thing not getting the kill, but it's the time, right?
Yeah.
Storm is now 20 CS ahead. He's pushing the tower.
Avatar, Scatterblast, Fire, or Fly. Looks like he's actually going to live. Spectre, one of the tankier position ones in the game.
Definitely major upside against a lane like this that is so burst oriented.
As an off-lane Tiny, do you think, I mean, you still go Silver Edge at some point against Spectre, right?
Maybe you can do that on Jugger. I think it depends what they value the most out of their Tiny, because you could also go for like a catch build that's a dead, by the way.
Yep.
Oh, nice fairy.
All right, he's going to live for a little bit, but the toss finishes him off. 4-1 advantage for Team Spirit. So game 2 and 3 starting off kind of similarly in terms of the kills, but it's really the mid lane that's the story right now. But we can just call it a wash just because of that first blood.
Pretty much. And again, I think the two heroes on IG that you could be concerned about, because they are very much dependent on that good start. I think both Storm and Spectre are feeling pretty good about this, right? Fly has a kill and 30 CS, and Emo must be... No, you have like a mental checklist for what's good farm. Having 10 CS per minute, minute 7 a Storm, you're pretty happy with that. It's not going to get... Like, how can you get more than this, theoretically, apart from having a guy stacking all your camps? He's basically got everything he can. So,
yep, that's very true. Looks like Collapse is, we're going to see the coil in the mid lane. And Mira kind of coming in the vicinity here, but Ollie is TP'd as well. Toronto Tokyo trying to get the first damage. Scatterblast is going to be enough. Toronto Tokyo takes out Emo. Mira gets slept, but there's not going to be a whole lot of damage between this Phoenix and Bane, and Ollie, he's completely surrounded here. A couple more right clicks, and they lose a double kill for Toronto Tokyo as Team Spirit doing very well.
I love the way that that Toronto Tokyo used the silence there. He was very patient. He saw the Bane TP coming. Okay, Cookie.
Yeah,
that's
Cookie
cute.
on the creep. Do they have Frostbite with the illusory orb? It's not a triple kill, but we call it that as Haunt comes in. First of the game, they're going to try to go for Toronto Tokyo. The zip in from Emo. He wants revenge. Illusory orb, but looks like Toronto Tokyo will fall. And now Miposhka might be next on the list. Gets off the Frostbite. And Emo, not with a ton of mana left, but Fly will be trying to pursue. In fact, Emo might be in trouble here. Jataro's made a transition. It doesn't look like the Cookie connects, so away Emo goes.
Well, Fly gets to the high ground, but he has mana for TP now. He has to get out of there immediately, and he will make it. So, yeah, it looked like a nice kill, and I really like the way they cast their spells to execute this kill on the Phoenix behind the tower, but of course it does compromise Puck's position just enough that Storm respawns and finds that counter kill.
Now, Mars Arena Collapse ends up getting procced by the spear, and Emo cleans it up. Eventually, JT gets credit for that one. So nice rotations as Feels like at 8.5 minutes we've had a trade of tier 1 top and bottom in both games, and that's not even remotely the case this time around.
Well, Spirit have done more structural damage for sure. Like wait, have IG? Okay, IG have hit a tower. They've hit a little bit on mid and top, but yeah, the top tower for Spirit looking a lot healthier. So all in all, still very, very close early on, and you just gotta wonder what's gonna happen as soon as the first round of items comes in, right? So Storm is queuing up the Orchid. Puck is going Boots of Travel, it looks like, here at Toronto, Tokyo. Not too uncommon, but also a little bit risky sometimes, especially playing against a hero like Storm who wants to go Orchid. Yeah. You're not gonna be like that step ahead where you already have the Yules when the Orchid comes out, so you are a little bit exposed that way. But
I mean, he's definitely made it work in many games that we've cast of him in the past, so see if that comes to be again. Of course, it is against Emo, like you said. An absolute beast. Toronto Tokyo about to hit level 9 here. Has his coil available. Looking for an opening. His collapse. Trying to bait a bit. Oh, Spear does not connect with the tree, but here comes the coil from afar into the ult from Snapfire. Avalanche to follow. Ollie's in the vicinity. He gets off the Nightmare, but looks like JT's going to barely tick out there. They expend a lot. TP support from IG. And Team Spirit get the kill. And they're going to try to go for this tier 1 top as well. And they're going to be stopped in their tracks for now. Toronto Tokyo picks up a double damage rune. Was not denied by an illusion this time. And Yataro.
It's kind of incredible. He could find an angle for that spear to not land on the tree.
Yeah, that was
such
pretty
a
unfortunate.
Small window.
Well, I think one tree was missing at that time as well.
Yeah, the one in between them at the back, but still, even then, it's pretty narrow window there.
It looks like IG's going to defend here. They will be successful. But yeah, Yataro is farming really well, actually. I mean, Spectre's one of those heroes that farms a little bit slower, at least the beginning stages, than Juggernaut, but they're basically on the same footing right now. But yeah, it will be Aghanim Scepter for Fly eventually after the Falcon Blade, so he will not be going for, well, maybe Orchid after, we'll see. Yeah, Collapse, gonna get the Avalanche into the Cookie, into the toss as well. Scatterblast finishes them off there. See another coil expended for JT. He gets off his ult as TP supports are on their way. He's gonna get bursted down though, and Emo with Fly coming in on that hot. They're gonna be able to clean up 2 kills right off the bat, but it's just 2 supports. Double kill for Fly. Now Toronto Tokyo's here with the double damage. Of course, no coil, 60 seconds on the deck here, but gets the Waning Rift. Not sure if he's going to finish this off. Toss onto Emo. Yataro has a healing ward. Going to try to spin here. He's taking a ton of damage in the meantime, though. He's just going to get right-clicked down very casually by Emo. You can see the egg on the backside here, but won't end up resulting in any kind of stun. So a little bit too aggressive, perhaps. They're staying too long for Team Spirit.
What is it with TI and tossing people from your own team into trouble, huh? That's a pretty...
It's so tempting.
Memorable moment from a different year. I don't think that one was on purpose, though. This one was. But that toss did not work out the way they wanted it to. And they even got a really good Avalanche, because Jugger got Fiend's Grip, and immediately Avalanche canceled the Fiend's Grip, and he still couldn't get the Omnislash off.
Yeah. You can see the replay here.
Top tower is under attack.
What a bounty!
End up killing the Phoenix, who, the fact that he eggs at the end of this fight just shows how long it went here. A very extended fight overall.
And this is what IG's lineup can do. The moment you start committing, this global presence of Storm Spec can always come in and punish when cooldowns are out. And it's very understandable that Spirit wants to chase here, right? You have a DD Puck, you know the enemy team is somewhat out of resources. Sidestep from Toronto Tokyo there to not get Fiend's Grip, but here is the problem. So instant cancel on that grip.
Yeah, and he never Omni Slashes either.
Maybe taking too much damage.
He would have gotten right kills. Yeah. He's yet to actually Omni Slash this game, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, honestly. Collapse did live at the very least, but...
And now Collapse will take that top tower, obviously, with those cooldowns not ready for IG. They're not interested in trying to defend without Supernova or Haunt, so a little bit of a silver lining there, at least, that they grabbed the first tower of the game. But the question is if they're going to be able to defend their own bottom as well, or if it's just going to be a trade in the end. Kaka's eyeing up at Yules. I think it's probably a pretty good choice here. Maybe he's worried about the Puck silence, and he wants to make sure that he can get his Supernova off. TPing bot, yeah, it's going to be a tower trade. They're making very sure here. TPing Phoenix bottom here is basically them saying, all right, we take no risk here, just in case Spirit want to defend, since they have Omni, we're going to have as many heroes as possible in the neighborhood, and now they realize, okay, defense is not coming, so they're going to rotate, and Kaka will maybe stack a little bit of ancients here. I don't know if they want to do that. Seems like that's a yes.
Yeah, Ollie TP's mid. Looks like IG want to defend this mid tower potentially, but Team Spirit is completely set up here. Yatoro is at half HP though, does not have healing word to use.
Like you can't even imagine.
And we'll see how they want to actually initiate here. As there's the toss back onto JT, gets silenced right off the bat, can't get his margarine off. Nice layering with the cookie, but the Arena actually blocks off the snapfire. He cannot kill the egg as a result. That's one death, make it two, and Team Spirit getting destroyed in this fight. The Mars Arena perfectly placed. We talked about that combo as Yatoro now on the run. Spin TP looks to be successful.
Such a godly setup there from IG. They make sure that the one hero that can be caught is JT on the Mars. He instantly uses the hood, and then they get in and get the counterplay with a great Supernova Arena combo, and they instantly Fiend script the Snapfire as well, who was part of coming in close for the extra burst, but that obviously means that there's no Mortimer Kisses. That's one of the problems with this hero in some situations, is that you always need to gauge what distance you want to play at, right? It's rare that you find a fight where all of your spells get used well. It's generally either the up-close ones or the long-range one. In that situation for Mira, it would have probably been better to stand further back and get that ult off for a massive amount of damage in the arena, but yep, he got taken out, so made that an easy hold for IG.
Yeah, now Fly, top of the net worth. I believe Aghanim Scepter is being delivered as we speak. So essentially he gets, I guess you can call it a mini haunt. You have to have vision of the target.
Mini haunt.
A single, what do I actually call it?
A shadow step. How about that? What do you think? Do you think that's a good name?
Single haunt is better, I think.
Yeah, you definitely designed Slaughter.
But it also applies a spectral dagger, so I would assume he's going to go for all the talents that line up with that.
Just already taken the dagger talent on level 10, which is very common.
Single target, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Single target haunt.
Single target haunt, yeah. It's very accurate.
That is pretty much the worst name you could give a spell that I can imagine.
Well, amplify damage.
That's better.
Oh, Avatar from Collapse. They're going to be able to blow up the Bane right off the bat. Maybe extended coil as well. And look at JT somehow surviving through all this. The hood plus the Sunray.
Mind you, that's only level 2 Sunray, actually. That wasn't even a maxed out one, but just the hood facing the right way and getting Sunrayed really can keep JT alive for a long time. They do get the pick on Bane.
And this is going to be the crucial part of the game for IG, or if I guess you can look at Team Spirit's perspective as well, but Orchid on Emo. And right now, Toronto Tokyo has nothing to take it out. In fact, he doesn't even have anything queued up that will dispel that. One for the Kaya, we'll be going for Blink next.
It's dangerous.
Very, very dangerous.
It's so dangerous when you're not playing with a save, right? It maybe sometimes you can justify this a little bit easier if there's someone who can, yeah. Very good.
Well, you get some HP, it's something.
When Snap is level 15.
Yeah, eventually they'll get there. The Orchid...
level 15, the 200 heal from Cookie.
The Orchid will have done its work by then, I'm sure, but... Yeah. I mean, it is risky, but I mean, Toronto Tokyo he typically always plays like this, and it pays off a lot.
A lot of
very often for him.
That's the thing about glass cannon builds, that if the situation is correct, it's very good, and it's kind of just, you're just polarizing your play, right? You're saying, okay, in good situations I'm better, and in bad situations I'm worse.
Yeah.
And they're relying on having superior vision or getting the initiation with Tiny, which he can, for the most part, trust Collapse to do.
Oh, there we're going to see the Orchid. We just talked about it. All right, too risky, Cinderin. Too risky indeed. Mira, not in the right position, although the Cookie, as you explained, would have made a difference here.
For what it's worth, he would have also died.
Oh, man, they're actually gripping Collapse as well. This is getting a team life if they're not careful. Double kill for Emo. 4 dead for Spirit.
Good God, they're just getting caught in 2 different places with 2 different heroes, just being fragmented there. I mean, for what it's worth, the kill on the puck had nothing to do with his item ability. He has Jules there, he still dies. He was just getting killed within the Vortex pole. But yeah, it's the problem. The Spectre is so farmed that I don't know how Team Spirit can really handle this. Their lineup kind of has to win early. You're going to see it here.
Actually, he did have time if he had Yules, to be fair.
Yeah, maybe he could have reacted really fast and got it off before he got like half a second. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, right.
Somebody record that line. I haven't heard that before. You're right. Thank you. But yeah, this was a disastrous fight to Team Spirit, and
I was talking to production. They were saying, since you're really smart. And I was like, you're right.
Fair enough. It makes sense now. IG with a 5K net worth lead, keeps going back and forth. And that is, for 18.5 minutes, that is a crazy lead. And the fact that you have the Spectre, you have the Storm, that feels very bad for Team Spirit. And this should as well. Toronto, Tokyo evaporates.
I mean, he is going all around the world right now.
94% win probability. IG, after that game one, I don't know what you want to call that. That was a very surprising win for Spirit. And you got to give Spirit credit for that as well.
Of course.
But after that, IG have they've been looking just like they did in the group stage.
Yeah, and it looks like Yatoro could be in trouble here. They have all the vision and info. They're just waiting.
Spin. They don't have grip right now. There is the Mars Arena into the Spear. Very patient play from IG. And they are actually shellacking Team Spirit right now, Cinderin. This is rough.
I've casted a lot of games, Shannon.
Yes.
I've seen closer games than this.
Have you?
Yes. I have to admit. I have seen closer games. I've also seen less close games. But comparatively, when you think about how game 1 and 2 went, this is turning into an absolute stomp. And it's not, you don't just look at the numerical values, right? Okay, you're 6K hit minute 20. That's already good. It's the heroes that you did it with.
Yeah.
Right? The scaling possibility in this dire lineup is so superior to that of the Radiant. And Team Spirit, honestly, I kind of like from them that they went in with this kind of, confidence and mentality in this game. Okay, we see their heroes. We're going to pick something that's good. But in terms of execution requirement, they have so little margin for error in the first 15 minutes with this lineup. They have to be ahead on kills. They have to do better in lanes than they did. And now that we're not at that stage anymore, it just feels like it's kind of cruise control for IG right now. Wait for every time you have, what's it called? Sorry, single target haunt ready. Then you use that to kill a hero.
Thank you.
And then you also have every target haunt, which is your ulti.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's very accurate. I like that.
And you just, every time those things are ready, you try to find picks with Storm.
Easier to understand as well. 7K network lead for IG. They have 4-man smoke right now. And Spirit just has to play in this type of way where they have a couple heroes just kind of shadowing somebody that's pushing just to be able to save them potentially, or at least create some havoc. But it's going to be an uphill battle overall.
The Kaya Sanj. He has died in the other 2 lanes in the last 4 minutes.
Well, they got the third one. Again, Toronto Tokyo gets out the phase shift this time, but the last one, trouble actually blinks out to safety, and it looks like Puck's going to live through this engagement. In fact, they get the root, the coil onto Emo, but that is just the Aegis right now. The spin from Yatoro comes through, has yet to Omni-Slash this entire game. Fiend's Grip will disallow that from being a thing as well. And now the jump in from Emo after the Aegis has been expended. 3 deaths. All they lose is Aegis. I can't get over that there has not been an Omni-Slash this game. You don't, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it makes any difference in these fights because it's getting to be very one-sided now.
Honestly, it's a really hard jug game, actually, I think. Oh, fly. Toronto Tokyo.
The jump in from Emo. 11K now, and this is without even the tier 2 towers being killed yet. BKB now online for Emo.
Radiant's middle tower
looking to add insult to injury. Of course, they don't have Aegis to work with as we're looking at the replay here.
This is a really good play from Toronto Tokyo, by the way. He phase shifted the initiation, then he gets a 2-hero silence, one of which is the Storm, and then he escapes this after. He could not possibly have done more in that fight on the Puck, but again, who's going to stop the Bane in this situation from Fiend's gripping the jug? As soon as all the spells are cast and Bane is unaccounted for, that's when this hero really shines. Just goes in and takes out the carry from the fight entirely. JT's having a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. But IG sometimes in the past, as we saw in game 1, a little bit too confident sometimes. It happens to the best of us. But I think they've learned their lesson, and I would be surprised if they don't just continue to grow this lead. Ollie gets off the Nightmare.
Is he actually going to escape here? Oh.
Yeah, looks like that's the case. Basically nullifies a smoke from Team Spirit.
Is under attack.
IG are aware. As Kaka's working for a refresher already on the Phoenix. My goodness.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Well, actually, does he even have the mana to support it? He probably
That's a good question.
He barely does.
I'm sure he's done the math. Do they allow calculators in the booths?
Maybe that's the one tool you would be allowed to have in there. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Fly up. He's gonna get the single target haunt off, and we'll go back to where he can. So ends up baiting out most of Team Spirit, including the freezing field.
And that's another thing about Spectre when it has this item is if you want to gank Spec, you kind of need to either have full chain stun and silence until it dies, or you need to be all 5 heroes there. You can't just press a button and escape globally. It's very, very annoying for Team Spirit to deal with here. And IG are immediately going to make their own move. I love this. You know, you used Shadow Step, but you're ready to go once again. Immediately smoked up the other 4 heroes, and this is a dead Crystal Maiden. The question is, are we going to get any more? Elo with a long jump.
Yep, and they're going to get a second.
Oh, baby,
Sapphire
a double.
CM Dunzo.
Invisibility.
And the fact that this this Shadow Step is only a 30-second cooldown, kind of crazy.
It's an insane act.
You have constant global ability as Collapse.
He's going to join bottom.
Yep. This is getting out of control as IG dominating right now. But all top three net worths on their team. Probably just waiting for the next Roche just to make sure that you know, they have things in hand. They don't want to get overconfident again. And
do they see Toronto Tokyo? They don't have vision of him right now. He's standing there in the tree line.
Yeah.
If Bane were to randomly walk in there, Toronto Tokyo actually dies. Because Storm has the Orchid, but he obviously does have the vision advantage himself from that high ground ward.
So he does have Kaya Sange now on Toronto Tokyo. So
Yeah.
status resist against the Orchid. That's something. It's not a dispel, but we'll be going for the... See, now I actually agree with going like Blink Dagger and all these other items. When you're at this point, you need to play a little riskier, I feel like. If you go for a defensive build, I don't think that helps you back in the game, necessarily. Kind of got to go all in here.
The question is if you could have got the dagger before even your travels. Like if you wanted to play hyper-aggressive with your team, was travels the choice that enabled that the most? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, but I do feel like usually the Travels Kaya Sange build is more of a greedier approach to puck. And I don't think being greedy in this game, I mean, it's not easy to say in hindsight because they got rolled in all the fights, right? Emo is searching out here. Won't find yet. Mira is going to walk into Kaka. He's dead.
Yep, there's the Yule. And will be left to die in all likelihood. JT jumps in as well.
Radiant structures are
Lead
fortified.
continues to grow here for IG as they try to get as much map control as possible to starve out Team Spirit, and obviously still waiting for Roche number 2. In which case we can have a very long discussion about shards, as is the tradition. By working on a Scotty for himself.
Tower has fallen.
And I mean, you just look at the farm discrepancy.
Nightmare.
Oh boy. Yeah, Nightmare setup. Grip. Oh, Collapse jumps in, gets the avalanche. And Emo trying to finish off Puck in the meantime. It's going to be close. Looks like he'll find him. And Collapse dies as well. So it feels like IG, there's like no opening for Team Spirit.
No.
Like this is the opening. Yataro can get a couple creeps while the rest of his team dies. That's like the unfortunate, oh boy. He might actually get caught here as well.
Oh, no.
Okay, he's fine. But he has Manta, Echo Saber.
Okay.
All
he finds that.
Yep, Mira. I believe he died in this same spot last time around. Collecting gravestones there. As we'll know, I believe in 30 seconds for Roche.
The red mist spreads.
I mean, from Team Spirit's perspective, Cinder, what can you do? Like, you're... Oh, Maposhka. He will actually live. That's the first surprise that's happened in the last 5 minutes. What can Team Spirit do to try to creep back in this game? Really taking your time here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm running the simulation, so I'll get back to you in a second.
Okay.
A pretty big Monte Carlo sample here. I'm typing to Knoxville as we speak too.
Very good.
How many, what is it in, which movie is it again, where they manipulate time and there's one possibility out of a million, whatever, Captain, not Captain, what's it called? You know this. You know movies.
Good discussion, Cinder. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I watched this movie. I can't remember what it's called.
You're talking about Inception or something?
No, not Inception.
Okay. Well, you're the one that's only watched 5 movies in your life, so pick one of them.
It's from the Avengers movie. That's right. It's one of the Avengers.
No wonder. I know. Yeah.
One out of many, many, many possibilities here. That is what we're looking at for Team Spirit. It is honestly, it is a total miracle comeback if they do it. Gabe Newell gives them 1%.
Okay.
Gracious Gabe.
That's something.
Always stays positive.
Yeah.
We've had games that were over that said 5%.
Literally over.
Dyer's bottom tower.
Actually, there was a game that was 100% win rate.
Yep. It does happen
in this group stage.
Occasionally. It's obviously rounded up. The game is never truly over until it's over. Things can happen.
Absolutely.
But for Team Spirit, I don't know, you've got to go for some sort of Hail Mary, and I feel like you should have done that for the last 10 or 15 minutes, and they've kind of tried, you know. It's not like just been sitting around getting dominated, but they're getting chased around the map by
Poshka is dead. Yataro spin TP. Looks like he'll be successful. No bash or anything like that for Fly, but...
It's like every time you blink, somebody just gets jumped somewhere by Storm or Spectre, right?
Yeah.
So you only really find opportunities by going together and looking for a team fight. But the problem is, in order to set up a team fight with the nature of how the Dire are playing here, IG make sure to push in all the lanes. So if you want to find that move, generally what sets you up to make aggressive moves is that you've pushed at least 2 waves across the river. But every time they split up to try and push the waves, they get ganked. So it's like, it's kind of a checkmate situation where you need to somehow magically dodge the ganks for a full minute.
And Shard, I assume Emo will take the Shard.
Yes, he will. Good call.
Thank you, thank you. So he's going to get the overload active that allows him to use on his teammates. Now has a haste trim to boot.
I didn't know that had a mana cost, actually.
What is the mana cost?
150.
Oh, it's actually, yeah, it's quite a bit, actually. It's very good, though, so.
It is very
You get 3 procs on everybody that you cast it on.
Smoke from IG. JT is ready to go in. He has BKB.
Oh, smoke from Team Spirit as well. Poshka is going to be the sacrifice.
Hello, says Emo.
He tanks the gank. I mean, that is actually an okay scenario for Team Spirit.
Yeah, it shows what kind of a game it is when you're happy one guy dies.
Yep.
But there isn't really much need to sugarcoat it, you know? They're just getting owned. Like, they got ran over in the stage of the game that they had to win, and now they're just paying the price. That's it.
Tokyo, Orchid death again.
Yeah.
You just can't do anything with this item set versus the Orchid specifically. Is Kaka collapse, gets off the Avatos. All right, they find a residual kill at least.
Kill for Yatoro. He's working his way toward a silver edge. Maybe that's their idea here. It's like, okay, Spectre's too big. We need a silver to have a chance. Oh, dear.
Fly comes in.
He just doesn't care. He jumped into 3 heroes.
Kills the ward, gets some free gold. Emo basically out of mana.
Oh, Mira is in trouble.
Mira is dead. Okay, he actually has Shard on Mira. Didn't realize that. Gives you a little shotgun blast. But IG just getting whatever they want. And still 3 minutes to go on the Aegis, so expect them to, I would assume, try to go high ground here. They have a gigantic lead.
Dyer's top tower is under attack.
Did we do it?
Gaben has called it.
What is it?
Gabe is like, welcome to the International